Morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. That is the Great Space Hog is the name of that band. Benjamin, did you know that?
I did not know that.
Such a feel-good tune. In the meantime, feels like a song just gets you ready for, good times. Maybe you had some good times and makes you feel good. Feels good after a dub last night. I'll tell you that, or yesterday morning, I should say. We are Ben and Woods. We are on 97.3 The Fan, number one station in San Diego. Suck it. Right. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He is our executive producer. Paulie is also handling our YouTube feed. You can watch us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com. Search Ben and Woods. You'll see it. Click on that. Got a nice little community building over there on YouTube. We have they call it the Junior GM meeting in there right now. So all the Junior GMs very happy. Many of us left confused about yesterday's outcome because, well, you spend your time. Benjamin Higgins also joins us, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. You spend your time, Ben, picking this team apart, and then they come out and they have a performance like that, and you're just kind of confused as to what's going on right now with the San Diego Padres. But we got a couple guests that can line it up for us today.
Well, good morning, first of all, everybody. Happy Friday to you. Good to be here. Paulie.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Is he a completely different person today than he was yesterday?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Is this what we're going to live with for the rest of the season? Because you, Woods, have a good life. You've got a wife, nice kids. I mean, looks like a beautiful...
I do have a wife and nice kids.
You look like it's like you get a beautiful home.
Our home is great.
You have lots of things to be happy about and thankful for.
But I am.
You can't ride this roller coaster as intensely as you've been riding it. You were
I can and I will.
So miserable yesterday. So miserable yesterday because the Padres lost in the ninth inning. And now today you come in and you're a completely different person.
Yeah, I can.
This is a baseball season.
This is not
I will. A football season.
I'm not seeing a whole lot of you practicing what you preach as far as
you're right. Paulie,
we can't live and die with every game. It's a long season. You know
what?
You're not going to make it.
Today is National Leave Work Early Day, and I'm about to storm out Steve on both of your asses this morning. I like, if you guys haven't learned this about me yet, I like calling people out. I don't like being called out. Does that make sense to either of you?
Yeah, I get it.
It's called, what I call it? It's hypocrisy. I'm a big hypocrite. Live this way. I'm just happy. Today's Friday.
I'm glad.
It was a big win. It was nice. I wasn't super bummed yesterday. I was pretty bummed.
I had a nice day. I played golf with my dad and my brother, and they asked me, how is Woods doing? And I had to honestly say,
I don't know.
Look at the box score, and you'll find out how Woods is doing. Did the Padres lose yesterday? He's a miserable, he's a miserable guy. Did they win? He's great. He's happy. He's in a good mood. He loves coming into work. Did they lose? He wishes he could be somewhere else.
Anywhere else.
He hates this job. He hates everything.
I really, that. Have you guys seen the meme of Randy Macho Man Savage sitting somewhere? He's got one leg up and he's looking out into the ocean. Paulie, have you seen that one? Ben probably has no idea who Randy Macho Man Savage is. That's me after a Padres L. And it's mostly because you got to come in here and you got to parse it out, and this guy needs to be fired. And it's when I come in and I'm happy after a win, you know what it is? It's relief. It's relief because the 4-hour show is going to be on a better plane. Does that make sense? I'm not necessarily living and dying with every loss. Like, these losses aren't gutting me. It's the coming in and doing the show and going, all right, so 17 strikeouts. This guy's got to be canned, and and you get people calling, going, Bob Melvin needs to rip the base out of the ground. It's the bad takes kind of weigh me down after a while. That's what it is. You come in today, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the coffee tastes delicious. Everything feels better because you don't have to listen to that crap. You don't have to read that crap for 4 hours.
But it shouldn't necessarily be that way.
I understand.
Padres didn't fix every single one of their problems with one 10-1 victory.
What is our record in June?
1-0.
How many runs did we score in June?
We've outscored the opponent by a factor of 10 in June. Yes, and if they keep that up and they outscore their opponents 10 times every day this month, it's going to be a really good month of June.
April is done. May is done. June starts now. Hottest team in baseball, your San Diego Padres. Right now, this moment. Hottest team in baseball, ripped off 10 runs yesterday.
Best team in the month of June.
Best team in the month of June, by far. By far. I didn't see the other scores last night. Probably didn't score 10 runs. I know that. How's our offense looking in June? Ryan Flaherty should get a promotion instead of a demotion.
Well, what about the first 3 innings when they went 9 up, 9 down?
I texted you guys. I go, 5 Ks in the first 6 batters. Today's going to suck. No, I get it. I know what you're saying. I'm just in a good mood. I'm happy when they win, and I'm not so happy when they lose because the bad takes that have come out of this city they have been it's like staggering. We used to do a bit called Dip S Tweets. And we could do 14 hours of a radio program featuring nothing but horrid baseball takes. And that really is what has weighed me down this year. It's been the awful takes. So after a day like today, you feel pretty good about how the team played. And I do. I like seeing new guys contribute. I like all that, man.
Well, Heather in the chat says Woods said he would be like this if they won yesterday, and you did.
I did. You asked me.
Why are you too surprised? I'm not surprised.
You said,
Heather.
How will you feel if they win? I go, elated was my exact word.
I think exasperated is more of the word, not surprised with Woods' emotional swings. Well, how did you celebrate then the 10-1 win last night?
Oh.
Just blow it out?
No. I again, at home, I'm very measured after the game, before the game, You
take the kids somewhere, you get something nice to eat.
So what we did, we actually had a day yesterday. We had to do, both kids had to go to the dentist. And so they knew that going in. They were very domed out about it. But we took them into the dentist. I went with Hannah. So it was a family affair. Go into the dentist. We throw them up on the chair. They get their little teeth, looked at and flossed and polished. And man, both of them, not a tear, just followed the directions. It was the sweetest. Bo was holding Taylor's hand while Taylor went. I mean, it was awesome. They did so well. So then we went after, and we asked Bo, hey, if you're brave, you get to pick where we want dinner. You're where we're going to get dinner. And he goes, I want Mexican food. So, great.
I'm impressed.
I know. Yeah, right. True San Diegan. And so we went to Jorge's, as you know. We love Jorge's.
Right by my house.
Right by your house. Actually, no.
Oh, you went to the other one.
The one by Rite Aid.
By San Diego.
By Santa Fe. Yeah, that's where we went.
No, they're the same.
Same deal.
Still have that really good chicken soup that you can get at Jorge's.
The best. Yeah. So we go down to Jorge's. We all eat, and it was awesome. It was awesome. It was a great family night after a nice Padres win. It was you had to mix the dentist in there. Taylor did S's pants in the dentist chair. So that was fun, as he had
to. Like bread, meat, bread. Padres win. Dentist
plus doo-doo in a diaper that reeked. And you're not going to rip him off there and go change his diaper in the middle of the procedure. So that was fun. And then you go out to dinner. But no, Jorge's. And then the move, right? You go to Jorge's, you eat your food. If you guys are good, you eat all your food. Guess where you go next? You go to Rite Aid and get the ice cream from Thrifty's.
Thrifty ice cream.
It's the greatest ice. It's the second greatest ice cream known to man. So you go into Thrifty, you get an ice cream, and that was our family night.
I enjoy going to Jorge's.
Me too.
It's weird when you're waiting for the food. They actually have, for me, it's like entertainment on the wall.
I know exactly what you're going to say. Bo is the same way, and I'm the same way. They have 2 giant maps on the wall. Giant map.
I mean, it doesn't really make any sense.
It really doesn't. It was like, we need something here.
Shop, yeah.
Right. We need something here. There's not like a big map with pins in it. Here are all the Jorge's locations across the world. No, that would make sense. There's a world map over here, and then there's a USA map here. I mean, and so Bo loves maps. Loves maps. So that's what we did. We looked at the maps.
I mean, I like maps. I just sit and stare at them.
I do too. And Bo goes, where are we? Here. Where do Gabby and Pops live? They live here in Texas. Where's Chicago? So I show him Chicago. he could do it all day. So I'm in my mind, I'm like, I think I should get a big ass map for the house and hang it at the crib and teach these kids a little something. So it was great, man. I don't mean to be bipolar. Paulie has called me out. He's right. I've yelled at the audience and be like, yo, long season, relax. It's going to be fine. But I'm in a good mood because I really enjoyed what I saw yesterday. And I did have a nice day with my family and it's the weekend. It's been a short week. It's been a productive week. And I do apologize for my bipolarity as it pertains to this.
As you said, we have a pretty good Friday show for you. Some of our regulars, including Craig Elston, will be with us at 7:35. It's been a couple of weeks, I think, since we've had a full Crossing Stream segment on a Friday at least, because we've been off and he went to Disneyland one Friday. So
we had him on.
We had him on earlier one week.
We bitched. All we did was bitch about the Padres. And then at the very last second, he was like, hey.
We had him on. We were off last Friday. I think we had him on Thursday.
Yeah. He goes, go watch so-and-so, whatever it was. So, we'll do a full segment with him. But no, man, I'm in a really good mood. It's Friday. How was your guy? You played golf. That was good. You got your son's graduation tonight.
Correct. This afternoon. It's like 2:00. Yeah.
Man, what a feeling.
It's amazing. I mean, you talked about taking your kids to the dentist. Feels like 5 minutes ago we were doing that. Same tears. It was always difficult. Now they take themselves to the dentist.
It's so
barely even a dad anymore. They're fully grown people.
That's the thing. And I don't know about you. You probably don't, but there's these sponsored ads that keep popping up on my Instagram, and they have like the really sad song behind them. Like, I don't know, like just like a sweet melody, and they're like, realize that you'll only get maybe 12 Christmases with Santa Claus. Realize that your child will only get 17 summers. And I'm sitting there reading this at home. I'm like, like it's just it just hits me. And so now, as you sit here today, a dad that's helped raise these two boys, and your youngest is graduating high school, you're like, now who knows what the future may hold. It's not like he's slinging a bag over his shoulder tonight. No. Going, Dad, Mom, I love you guys. We'll see you around. Like, it's not going to work that way.
They still don't need a little advice from Dad.
Of course.
It's, we're not done.
By advice, you mean cash.
Yeah, that's
you mean
part
hard,
of it. Yeah.
Cold, hard cash.
Yeah, they've made some of their own as well of that, too. Happens less and less where they're asking me and they just go out and get what they want and do what they want at this point. But yeah, just appreciate it at this age, even the inconveniences like the dirty diapers and the tears at the dentist.
No, I do actually. I do. I really have been in that headspace of trying to really, really appreciate the good and the bad every single day. So, man, just congratulations to you guys. You've done a great job. Congratulations to Graham for graduating. It is an accomplishment, despite what anybody says. Like, it is it's tough to get through high school, and I don't mean the grades. I don't mean the work. It's just hard getting through high school, dating, breakups, bullies, these days, God knows you're fearing for your life every day. Almost.
Did he like high school? Did he like his high school experience, or was he kind of ready to just
I think on? He was more ready for it to be over by the end. He certainly had parts of it that he definitely liked.
Sure, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
I think at the end he's been like, in
fact, I would say that
looking at the watch, going, let's go, let's get this done with. We're over. Come on.
We all know people that peaked in high school.
100%.
Like, you had a great 4 years.
Man, you slayed it.
But you're going to be wearing that Letterman's jacket in 15 years,
buddy, and you're going to be in our town. I mean, I'm not. It's not a knock, but 95% of the people of my friends, all married girls from our high school, they all stayed behind in Grapevine, Colleyville, Texas, and they have great lives. They have big houses because it's dirt cheap. It was dirt cheap there when they all bought their houses. They all go to the same bars. They all know each other. They all still, which is great. I couldn't do it, man. It was not for me. I needed to stretch my wings a little bit. So certainly not a knock on them. Everyone's doing great, but good for him. Good for you guys. Should be how long is that ceremony going to be?
That's a question. I asked him how many grads there were. He wasn't sure. There's definitely a few hundred, and they have to read every single name. So we were trying to do the math. It's like if each name takes 5 seconds, then that part of the program will be close to an hour. just of the reading of the names. But if the rest of the program goes decently fast, it could be under 2 hours before it's all said and done.
Woo, Mamacita. JWW says these kids have it way harder than we did. I can't imagine going through high school with cell phones and social media. No chance. There's no chance. There's no chance. It's terrible. It's absolutely.
We had cell phones, but you didn't really have like the internet.
Yeah, so much harder now than it was when we did, in my opinion. So there we go. Little dad chat for you. Little Padres chat. Should be a great show, as Ben mentioned. You know, Sarah's coming up at 8:35. Craig,
By the way,
Craig Elston.
we got it.
We got what?
Got it. What have you and me been working on for? I don't know.
No,
a year now.
the number.
We got it.
The number.
About 8 minutes ago.
All right.
It's done. We got it.
Sound the alarm. Ben has no idea what we're talking about. Paulie and I
just pulled it.
I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, we got it.
This is the culmination, Ben, of a
no joke.
Literally a
it's
6 month
been
project.
At least 6 months.
6 month project that Paul and I have been working on
without
half
of a year.
You have had literally no
Has there
idea.
been secret meetings.
That's just as long as we've been working
Getting
on
together.
It's been ongoing for probably 3 years.
That's true.
Getting together after the show in
Correct.
secret closets here at Odyssey
Yep.
to discuss something without me.
Oh my God!
All right, all right. So
Give me
6:15. What do you need? 45, 50.
Give me 7 o'clock. I'll have it ready.
You guys at 7 o'clock.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited for this. Are you not excited?
Well, I
you
can't be excited because I don't know what you're talking about. And honestly, I'm probably more nervous because I don't know what I'm talking about than excited.
Okay.
It's
Okay. Oh my God! Finally,
You'll be fine.
The day has come, and you guys are going to. You're going to love this, man. You're going to love this. So, Paulie's going to get to work, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see.
oh my God!
I can't wait to see how it all works.
Dreamed about
His face. The color is kind of draining from his face a little bit, but he's also a little bit used to this.
I have thought about this day.
I have too. I've been waiting for it.
For months.
Simon says Ben's scared. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Ben's a little scared right now.
Oh my God. All right, 7 a.m. Be ready. You're on Ben and Woods. Whose Diddy is it?
It's me.
Oh, all right. Daily Diddy.
Yeah,
Everyone gets one choice this week. Frank, me, you, and now Paul. Feel good songs. You guys feel good right now.
We feel so good right
Maybe I'll
now.
just make that my song. No, we'll wait.
No, you
gotta
gotta
get it done.
Get it done.
Oh,
Make sure
it's gonna take a few
it's
minutes.
perfect. Oh, I'm so excited.
Celebratory Padres wrap up coming up. Paulie has the about damn time light on for a victory. We will get into all of it after our daily ditty coming up next on a Friday. Glad to have everybody with us heading into the weekend with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's see how Kelly's doing. Get our first check of traffic here on 97.3 Fan.
what a good pick by Paulie. Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters. They got a new drummer. As we talked about last year when the great Taylor Hawkins passed away unexpectedly. So sad. It was awful. They did the tribute concert, which was the best. It was the best. And then, you wonder.
Like a 6-hour show in September at Wembley.
You wonder, will they soldier on? And I never really had a doubt that they would. And Dave Grohl, one of the most... You think about what he's gone through in his career, losing Kurt Cobain, losing Taylor Hawkins. And they got a guy, though, Paulie, Josh Freese, who's unbelievable and has played with everyone. And he is going to reinvigorate that band. And it is a perfect replacement.
So hard, though, to step into the shoes of someone who was so beloved and great, and to be the next person in that line.
No question.
We have done the exact opposite.
Correct.
In our entire
career.
Actually, incredible success.
When you replace a turd, it's much easier to be loved.
It really
is.
If
you replace a turd.
When you think like in sports terms, like coming in and being the next guy.
Who's like the next guy?
Like the next closer after Trevor Hoffman retired or left.
Who was it?
I think it was Heath Bell.
He did okay.
Good. Yeah. He did well stepping in, but it's so hard to sometimes be that next guy.
You think about who was the next shortstop after Jeter in New York? I don't know. I don't even remember. Oh, Didi Gregorius.
Yeah.
And he did okay for a couple years.
But coaches like who replaced Joe Torre as manager.
Yeah, you got
a successful guy who steps down, calls his own shot, gets to leave when he wants to.
You got to be it takes a very special person to be able to do that, to come in and replace somebody, and this guy has done it. He's done it. He's toured with some of the biggest bands in the world, played with some of the biggest bands in the world, is a phenomenal drummer. And they're back on the road, man, doing what they do. That's what they do.
Well, look, Learn to Fly puts me in a good mood.
Of course.
It's one of their upbeat
great
songs. Great, love it.
Yes.
And no surprise here, Foo Fighters, my favorite band. I mean, I call them my generation's Rolling Stones kind of a thing.
All right, settle down over there.
My generation. They're the best band, the best rock band going right now.
Someone has to be his generation's Rolling Stones.
Yes.
I mean, you could do a lot worse than picking Foo Fighters.
And you know what? You're right, because it's not like the Stones, every album they put out was a banger. They put out some doo-doo albums too.
Right.
And Foo Fighters, I want Dave to
what's it been, 25 years now for Foo Fighters?
Yeah, roughly around
call
there.
it 25 years. I mean, they've hit a lot more than they've missed.
I want them to put out a good song again.
I lied to you earlier this morning. We were talking about them. The album's out today.
It is out next today.
Week, so I know what I'll be doing.
All right, I'm going to give it a listen. I've been disappointed like the last 4 times that the new records come out. So
their last album before this one was not great. Crap. Now I heard I think they released 3 singles from the new album. I've only listened to one because I didn't want to listen to every song on the album like weeks out at a time. I wanted to hear the whole thing all at once. I heard the one single that they did. I think it was Under You. It sounds like a classic Foo Fighters song. They didn't change anything. They didn't experiment at all. And I can see the argument either side of that. Like, I want these people, these artists that I like to expand their horizons a little bit and experiment and try things new.
I know.
It's a high risk.
Do you believe
I like the classic stuff?
A good album is like a baseball lineup. Like the order of the songs matters, and you have to listen to them in
absolutely. I turn
the
shuffle
order
off on Spotify when there's a new album that I want to listen to. And I started number one. It was designed that way for a reason.
Any guy that's ever been in a band, any musician that has been responsible for putting together a track list, not as hard as actually writing and composing the songs and producing them, but it's up there when they're like, all right, this is like, imagine us sitting in a room going, all right, best of Ben and Woods. This has to start. This has got to be the first one. No, this hits a little harder.
Well, let's do this one before this one. They kind of lead into each other.
I know.
And like in a baseball lineup, you've got a couple of superstars.
Yeah, some bangers.
At least you feel like, okay, these songs are going to carry the lineup, but do we want to put them right up front? Do we want to save one for near the end, to maybe pick up the...
I don't know. Has any band or artist ever put their best song on an album, like at track number 13?
See, You bring up a good point because my theme, the next time I have a theme, is
not always number
it's
one.
not always number one.
I mean, if this was
Sometimes-
baseball, you'd put it pretty early in the lineup,
Yes!
though. You want to set the tone.
I would guess, just thinking of albums that I know by heart. Like it's like the sweet spot's like number 3, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, your best
Like
hitter
what Juan
is 2,
Soto
3.
wants to
Yeah,
hit, too.
exactly right. That's exactly right. But some bands, like one of my favorite Pearl Jam songs is the last song on their first record, Release. But they'll open, it's the slowest song on the album. They'll open with that. And that I don't agree with.
I know what I would think. I think, okay, this song is definitely good. It's not our best, but it's good enough.
7.
That could be one. And then maybe something a little bit more different for number 2.
You don't think you got to come out of the, you don't think you got to come out of the gate with a banger?
Well, I don't think you're going to lose anyone in the first. If they bought the album, you're not going to lose them in the first couple of songs. So you don't need your best right off the bat.
I want to do this. It's this. We're out of time, but this is like my favorite thing we've ever talked about, and I need to.
I
do
think
some
it's
research.
totally different album versus seeing them in concert. As far as how they set up the playlist.
The last time I saw Pearl Jam, they opened with one of their slowest and worst songs ever. It put me in the worst mood. They opened with a song called Sometimes, which is, it's garbage. And I'm sitting there, I'm fired up. I haven't seen them in years. I'm like, here we go. And they open, Sometimes I cry. And I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing here? And it really ruined the whole experience for me. And so the concert's different. You got to come out. We're here. Let's go. Everyone
it doesn't even necessarily have to be your biggest single or your quote unquote best song.
Come out,
but it's got to have that energy of like, all right, the show is starting.
Yes.
Oh, there's a topic for a future time that Woods would like to
on an off day
explore a little bit more in the future. We do have to get to our Padres wrap up. Obviously,
we get to our Padres wrap up.
One of the better games of the season for your San Diego Padres. We'll get all the highlights and now analyze what happened yesterday in Miami and the road trip finale coming up next with Ben and Woods. Stick around on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by SC Johnson Off. Welcome back, Ben and Woods. Get to our Padres wrap-up here in a second. Woods was texting yesterday trying to decide whether or not to put a little money down on game 1 of the NBA Finals. Big number. Heat were 9-point underdogs.
Yeah, so Heat +9. I'm like, oh, well, you're playing well. Big win.
They made it interesting for you in the end, at least with the point spread. The game was never that interesting. Denver dominated throughout. They were up by over 20 in the second half. The Heat went on an 11-0 run, pulled within 10. I think they got within 9 with like 2 minutes and 30 seconds to play, but ended up losing by 11 as Denver takes game 1.
Fairly close to the number, you know, fairly close to the number. But, I watched a little bit of it. Denver looked surprisingly well-rested and ready to play. And Miami,
what happens when you win in 5?
Miami surprisingly looked a little bit ragged and a little bit beaten down.
7-game series, and they're playing at altitude in game 1. The Nuggets took advantage with the 104-93 win. Triple-double in his first NBA Finals game for Nikola Jokic.
It's great, dude, man.
That guy's a machine.
You know what's cool about this Finals is that both teams are made up of some pretty good dudes, right? Like, there's no real hateable Aaron Gordon. Mm-hmm. He's awesome. What a great dude that guy is. And of course, Jimmy Butler is fantastic. Bam Adebayo is fantastic. Like, all these dudes are good guys. Whoever wins it, you're like, you know what? Kick ass. You guys deserve.
Jamal Murray almost had a triple-double as well. Just needed, I think, 4 more rebounds would have gotten there. He's the difference, though. He's been hurt the last couple of years. And I forget who it was. It was maybe Spoelstra who said, we thought these guys looked really good in the bubble. And if it had not been for Murray getting hurt, they would have been doing this year after year. The Nuggets are that good. And we're just finally seeing them healthy this year. And, well, they're the 1 seed. They swept the Lakers, and now they're up 1-0 on the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals.
We don't talk a ton of basketball on this show, so I'm not surprised that we haven't dove into this. But the Miami Heat got to be one of the best sports franchises, at least in the last 20, 30 years.
No doubt.
Yeah. 7 trips to the finals since 2006.
No doubt, man.
I mean, that's pretty incredible. It's under the radar, right?
Paulie, the state of Florida is this weird hotbed for all kinds of really, really, really good sports. And I know it's a huge state. It would be like the state of California. It's different, but a lot of Floridian franchises have won championships and or made the finals or had really, really good seasons. Like, Florida is really, it's like Massachusetts was that, for that little run that
California.
They had.
California and Florida, I think, are your 2 best professional sports states.
Well, if I asked you who's the best basketball team in the last 20 years, you probably wouldn't say the Miami Heat.
No, you probably wouldn't.
Say the Golden State Warriors still, but
that's California.
The Heat, to me, I didn't know we were going to get into this now, though. Their equivalent is like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Consistency in management. They had Pat Riley as coach, and then they bumped him up to president, and Spoelstra got promoted, was their like video guy who gets, just in the organization all the way through. And then he's been the guy for 15 to 20 years now.
Yeah, because he coached the big 3, right?
Consistency in the front office, consistency
he's
in management,
awesome,
which is something.
You don't panic when you have one bad season every once in a while.
And that's something I think we could all take a page from.
Eric Spoelstra started as a film kid.
Yeah, that's unreal.
With the Heat.
That's unreal.
Worked his way up to the best coach.
Who's like Nate Shelley, the Wonder Kid.
Mm-hmm.
The Wonder Kid.
Mm-hmm.
on Ted Lasso.
By the way, it's Wonderkind.
Well, Wunderkind is the German, but of course, he said Wonder Kid.
I'm the Wonder Kid. He had a nice little.
I haven't seen the last episode yet, so we'll wait on that.
That's fine.
All right, we need to get to our Padres wrap up. That is coming up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the all-new Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad. Well, guys, it continues to be a problem-free ride on our freeways. Might find some slick roadways in the North County, some light rain and drizzle reported there. Also, keep in mind, you're going to find some police activity that's got some traffic control in place in Logan Heights. This is 16th Commercial and Logan, just west of the 5 freeway, so try and avoid that area. Brought to you by Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad with brand new 2023 Cadillac XT4s and XT5s in stock now. Stop in or shop online at CadillacCarlsbad.com, a proud member of the Premier Carlsbad family of dealers. I'm Kelly Danica with Fen & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner.
This about damn time.
2-2 to Sanchez. And that's hit hard in the air, deep to left field. This one way back, gonna go. A line drive, home run for Gary Sanchez. He's first as a Padre, and they take a 1-0 lead here in the third. Here's a 3-2. Sanchez hits it in the air to left field. De La Cruz is back. He's at the wall. Gary did it again. Second consecutive game of the home run for Gary Sanchez. He now has more home runs this year than any other Padre catcher. And the Pods add on 3-1 here in the fifth. Long pause now. The pitch, and that's lined into center field. A base hit. Tatis again started back. Now he'll come home and score. Davis's throw cut off behind the mound. And an RBI single for Brandon Dixon, who has driven in 2. And the Padres lead it 4-1. And Cronenworth breaks his bat, grounds it up the middle. That'll go into center field and a base hit. Bogarts comes in to score. Dixon on his way to third. And Jake's first hit of the series, an RBI single to make it 5-1 here in the sixth. And Sanchez hits it on the ground up the middle into center field and a base hit. Dixon has scored. Cronenworth's on his way. He will score. A 2-run single for Gary Sanchez, who has had quite a series in Miami. And the Padres open it up 7-1 here in the sixth. Owing set, the pitch. And Fernando hammers it down the left field line. That's a fair ball going all the way to the corner. Sanchez has scored. Nola has scored. On his way, Ha-Seong Kim. He will score. Fernando standing at second with a 3-run double. And the Padres have broken it wide open. 10-1 here in the sixth.
The Prince, 3 for 4, 3 doubles, 4 runs batted in, maybe his best game of the season. And he did something that no one else in baseball has done all year long, Woods. He is the first player with 4 exit velos of over 107 miles an hour in the same game. Now, he didn't
Aaron Judge.
Didn't get enough lift on any of them to get them out of the yard, but if the name of the game, and I believe it is when you were at home plate, is simply
barreling,
hitting the ball hard, barreling it, and then
damage,
let fate take its course and where it ends up going, then no one has had as good of a game as Fernando Tatis Jr. did yesterday in Major League Baseball.
Fantastic victory. It did feel dicey at the beginning of the game. We had talked about earlier in the week, Bob Melvin's comments, Ben, about this team needs to get in the mindset that they're never out of it, right? And we need to believe that we can come back from a 5-6 run deficit. Now, this wasn't that yesterday, but it was shaping up to be ugly. Jesus Luzardo was disgusting. Struck out the 5 of the first 6 guys that he faced, and you're going, oh no. Bob also talked about after the game how, yes, they realized he was nasty. They had an approach. They stuck to it. They eventually got to him and were able to knock him out of the game. And man, Matt Barnes came in. Thank God for Matt Barnes coming in like a gas can. And Padres exploded after that. And it was such a pleasant thing to see. You feel bad for Joe giving up a run on no hits. The walks continue to hurt these guys, but man, they did not let it snowball. They did not let it spiral. The offense came out and did their job. And I couldn't help think of, I watched when Joe was finished up and he walked into the dugout and he was high-fiving everybody. Blake Snell turned around and gave him a big high five. In Blake Snell's mind, he's like, where was this last night? Can't we spread this S around a little bit, over the last few games? And just not the way the baseball works. Exploded yesterday. A snoozer after they scored all those runs. It was great.
Joe's outing was actually quite interesting. You mentioned the early run, but he had a no-hitter into the 6th inning.
That's right.
The run came on a couple of walks, an error, and a sacrifice fly. So an unearned run against Joe Musgrove. He only threw 80 pitches, though.
Yep.
And you wonder, well, why did they pull him? Obviously, he got into trouble in the 6th, got out of it with the home to first double play.
That was awesome.
Which was cool. And then the strikeout. So he escaped the one jam, but he said after the game, and it's interesting because Max Scherzer yesterday also complained about something similar to Major League Baseball.
I didn't hear this.
Yeah. So, he came out and Max wanted to throw one more warm-up pitch, and the umpire said, no, the clock, he had one left. He's supposed, you get 8 or whatever it is, and he'd only thrown 7, but the umpire said, no, clock's up.
Stupid.
You can't throw anymore. And Max is going, what are we doing here? Why are we so to the letter of the law on this? We have shortened games by almost 30 minutes. I can't throw one more pitch, 5 more seconds to make sure that I'm ready to go. My arm is ready to go. And Joe Musgrove had a similar complaint. So when the Padres scored their 7 runs, biggest inning of the season for the Padres after having a 5-run 9th, which had been the biggest inning on Tuesday.
Joe had been sitting for about 40 minutes.
Sat forever. He said, I went and threw some of the heavy balls just during the inning to try to keep my arm, but I didn't have enough time. That I needed another throw or 2. And the umpire says, no, you don't get any more. And Joe kind of had the same thing. Like, what are we doing here? What's more important, saving 10 seconds on a game or making sure that our pitchers are ready to go and okay on the mound after sitting for 30 minutes, not getting to throw a pitch? And I think that contributed to the fact that Bob Melvin decided not to throw him back out there. Plus, why use a guy? You get a huge lead to give Drew Carlton and Tom Cosgrove some innings. By the way, those guys have thrown so well.
They've been great.
I'm not sure that they're mop-up guys anymore. You're going to probably use them more in higher leverage situations, considering Carlton has a 1.08 ERA, and Cosgrove has yet to give up a run with the San Diego Padres.
Knock on wood, the great Tom Cosgrove, everybody.
But I don't know. I get that, the umpires say, well, if I let you throw this pitch, I'm going to get written up by baseball. They're going to say, hey, you're not doing your job, so I can't let you do it.
There was, over the break, there was a Diamondbacks Phillies game. And I don't know if you guys saw or heard this audio. It was John Kruk, who's great. I mean, I love John Kruk, former Padre great John Kruk, Ben. He was so livid about they were in extra innings, and the Kimbrel was on the mound. And who's that? Rojas, Josh Rojas was at the dish for the Diamondbacks. And the umpire was banging Kimbrel for getting into the stretch too early, and Rojas isn't ready, and Rojas is backing out. And then as soon as he gets in, Kimbrel's ready to go. And Kruk lost his mind. I mean, Kruk was full on saying, like, this isn't baseball. What are we doing? Yes, man. And I do feel that it does get a little goofy. Do you feel like, though, at the halfway point of the season or maybe after the season, they'll go, all right, there are times when we need to bend these rules. It shouldn't be so hard and fast.
I'd like to think so, but how did they get into the situation of 3-hour, 10-minute games in the first place?
By a bunch of...
They have rules.
There's rules.
They always had rules, yeah. But once you don't enforce them and you say, yeah, we'll give you an extra pitch here, we'll give you an extra few seconds there, and the umpire's then discretion is in play, then it's inconsistent. Pitchers and batters don't know exactly what's going on from one day to the next, from one umpire to the next. And it's,
this guy let me step out yesterday.
So I don't know that how much, flexibility you can really have if you want to keep games moving quickly.
I have less than zero problem with Bob Melvin pulling Joe Musgrove after 80 pitches, as he is still, after what he's been through this season, trying to find his footing, his mechanics, everything else. No problem at all. You got a bullpen, you got a big lead.
Offensively, beyond Tatis, I know, you see Gary Sanchez come in and have, 3 impactful games right to start, at least offensively. I'm never going to go, this guy's saving the Padres season, but you see what happens. Padres got 6 hits in the bottom 4 of their order. He had 2 of them, another home run. The Padres needed, above all else, what did they need? Production at the bottom of the order. And Gary Sanchez has at least temporarily given that to the Padres. It makes such a huge difference for this Padres lineup to get a little bit from the bottom of the order. They can withstand a Soto 0-for-3 strikeout day and still score 10 runs when you get some production at the bottom of the order. It's crazy.
And you got production at the top from Fernando.
Yeah,
Had a monster
you're
day.
always one of those guys is going to have a decent game. Almost always.
Fernando doesn't drive in 4 runs without all those guys being on. Brandon Dixon, Ha-Seong Kim, all of those guys had a good day yesterday. So it was a really, really nice win. Well pitched game. Clean-ish game for the San Diego Padres, and the offense, again, proving what they are capable of. You've got to keep the train rolling. That's been the biggest problem. And again, you're going to get Jameson Taillon tonight with his 8.04 ERA take his soul from his body within the first 3 innings.
All guests on Ben Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with
Are we ready?
Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I have no idea what they've been working on.
Stay here.
Coming up next with Ben Woods on 97.3
Might be your favorite bit ever.
Hour number 2 of Ben and Woods on a Friday morning, National Donut Day. So unsurprisingly, a box of donuts made its way into a radio station from the new Randy's Donuts down the street here.
Randy makes a fine donut.
Decent donut. Thank you, Randy. I don't know if he brought them in personally. I don't even know who Randy is. I know he's got that big giant donut near where the Forum used to be, SoFi Stadium, right off the freeway there up in Los Angeles, the 405. But yeah, decent donut this morning on National Donut Day.
Ben, would you say you like donuts?
I do.
Yeah, donuts are delicious.
I mean, doesn't everybody like donuts?
Of course.
God, I do. They're like they're one of like 100 weaknesses that I have, but they're up there.
It's very hard to resist a good donut.
It is.
Hard to resist a mediocre donut, actually.
Well, I'm glad you like.
Sometimes they leave a little bit about
a film
inside my mouth.
Mine's a little filmy right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you like donuts, Ben, and I'm very excited for this moment. This is a momentous day. On a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you?
6.
6. Okay.
7.5.
That's about where you usually are.
9.
Yeah, 9. Okay. Well, this one, I think you're going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, you don't have to be nervous.
No, we've gotten Ben many times. You guys know we've snuck in liners, and he's read, Welcome to Pound Town and all kinds of fun things, Dixie Normus and things like that. This one took a little bit more time. This was the long game. Now, Paulie noticed last year. It made him laugh, and it made me laugh when he told me, he goes, Ben likes a lot of stuff. And I said, he does. He's a positive guy.
I like a lot of things.
I like a lot. Yeah.
But Ben
really likes a lot of
things.
stuff. Now, Paulie and I are both disciples of the great Howard Stern and listen to Howard Stern a lot. So it was right at the end of last year. He's got somebody on his staff that pulls together. They listen to every second, and they make a note when Howard says he hates something. I hate this. I hate traveling.
He's more of a negative.
He's more of a negative guy. You like a lot of stuff. And I go, Paulie, start if you can, if you remember. And listen, Paulie knows this. You know this. Our audience knows this. I have a lot of harebrained ideas, a lot. And I'll go, ooh, and I get excited about something for 10 seconds, and then it goes away, and we forget to do it or whatever. You guys go, yeah, sure. And then it just goes into the ether. Paulie, the diligent soldier that he is, has been collecting for 6 months things that you like. We have been working on this. We have been commiserating. Paulie will, when you
Are
leave,
you bringing them all in on a cart?
They're all coming in on a cart. Yes, enjoy. Here they
should be in
come.
the lobby right now.
So Paulie will call me in.
I mean, the Stern thing, it made me laugh so
It's so
hard.
it
It's
killed
like
me.
they do the whole month of December on the Howard Stern show.
It's like a big
the
recap.
Dump.
Yeah.
It's like a dump. They get rid of
dump
all
their stuff.
They have hours of content that they never got to on the show, and they just kind of throw it all out there.
Must
And
be
one of them
nice.
was, it's Howard going, I hate this.
I hate
effing
this.
hate this guy. I
Yep.
hate you. I hate this.
So-
I hate that.
So Paulie has been pulling and saving all of the things that you like. For 6 months we have been crafting this bit. 6 months, and today
And why
is the
today?
day.
Why is today the day?
We had a number in mind.
Okay.
It was 50. We wanted 50 things you liked, and you heard Paulie in the opening segment.
You and I were about at, I don't know, 23 or 24 a
And-
few months back,
yes.
and we were ready to go.
We were ready to go.
But we put it all together. It was about 30 seconds. It wasn't good enough. We said, let's hold off. Let's be patient.
Yes, let's really do
Let's
this.
practice some patience. Let's get to 50.
Let's get to 50.
And this morning in foreplay, about 6:08 a.m.
Yep.
You guys were talking about Javier's.
Jorge.
Jorge's.
Yeah.
You mentioned maps, Woods.
Yep.
And Ben said, I like maps.
I like maps.
Do.
I like maps too, though.
And I heard it. I pulled it. I played the alarm. We hit 50 this morning.
50 is the day. Paulie's been putting it together for the last 45 minutes.
I've been working very hard.
All right, is this it? I'm gonna have to turn my mic off.
Do not. You're gonna.
Because I know I'm gonna talk over. I'm gonna laugh over.
I'll leave my mic on. Ben, leave
They can-
your mic on. They'll hear Woods in the background, but.
All right, I'm out.
You
Are we
already,
doing this?
There's a few of them in here. Ben likes something where you already are stepping on him a little bit, so don't ruin this moment.
Okay.
We've been working too hard,
All right, I'm turning.
ladies and gentlemen.
I'm turning this up. These are
everything Ben likes.
I like good juicy sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh no, I like it creamy.
I like good, firm banana. I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating. I like moist. I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song. I like Squirt. I like Saki. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paul Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like Science Experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
It's better than I ever imagined, Paulie. It's better than I ever imagined it could be. Now I'm going, well, we should have gone to 100 because I want it 1,000 times.
I want more.
With that, I'm going to stop liking things.
Oh
so
my God.
I'm going to be a little more self-conscious about saying it. I did not realize I said I like so often.
It's a little bit exposing. You maybe need to work on that. You don't have to like everything, Ben.
Dude, that is so good.
Oh my God.
That is so, I like Score. I like science.
Soft drink.
I
like
get it.
It's the soft drink.
Allegedly. You like firm things, I noticed. I like a good firm banana.
Filling.
I like a firm filling.
Most of out of 50, I'd say 40 of those.
I don't
were
remember
food.
some of them. I feel like a firm filling was when, the pie filling oozes
Is
out. And
disgusting.
I like it when it
I
holds its
also
shape
I
a
like
little bit.
I also like a firm filling, Ben.
Bro, I was getting so impatient. Like there was one in there. I remember in particular. Ben says, "I like San Diego State." Now Ben does like
He
San
loves
Diego State, but I think we were talking. It was March Madness or something, and we were talking about the game that night.
Yeah, who do you like?
And I think Ben said, "I like San Diego State to cover" or something like that. I just had to clip it. I like San Diego
how
State.
did Justin Turner got into the
How do
mix?
you like Justin Turner?
Because I don't feel like I like Justin
Well, you
Turner. Why
said
did
it.
I
That
say
was
I
not-
like Justin Turner?
You
That was
said it.
not at all manipulated.
It wasn't
That
like
was-
you'll
said
never
it.
hear me say I like Justin Turner.
Right.
I'll say I like Justin Turner.
Would it be bad to ask for it one more time? Just right now. We'll
Let's
probably
get it.
play it later in the show.
Put out the phone number.
But, okay, we need a contestant for Take on Woods.
That made me so happy.
833-288-0973. Play our musical trivia game. Try to qualify one more person for our Vegas getaway for the month of May. I know it's June 2nd, but last week of May, technically. So call in now, 833-288-0973, and we'll play our game after another rousing rendition of things.
This
I
won't be the
like.
last time we play it this morning.
Things Ben like.
You can leave your mic on for this.
All right, good.
Oh my God. Here we go. Things Ben likes.
I like that music.
I like good juicy sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh no, I like it creamy.
I like good, firm banana. I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating. I like moist. I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song. I like Squirt. I like Saki. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paul Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like Science Experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like Brown Sugar. I like Maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
Oh my God, I love it.
I think the ones that kill me are just the occasional. I really like.
Yeah, like a crispy waffle.
The ones that stand out to me are just looking out at the sea.
The sea. I like just looking out at the sea.
And
if you paid me $1 million, I couldn't
Corn.
tell you what we were talking about that got Ben to go, I like just looking out at the sea.
corn.
Bless, dude. And the thing is, Paulie, we just started this 6 months ago. Imagine had we started it on day one.
Oh my God, we could do a whole show, literally
of
a
all the things you
4-hour
like.
show.
I like.
A lot of people say I like clocks.
Why do you
It
like
gets me.
clocks so much?
I think we were talking about the Coldplay song, although I do like clocks as
I
well.
like
clocks.
I like clock. This Coldplay song.
I do like that. I
Clocks.
like both that song and I like actual clocks, like Big Ben, with the big hands on the clock.
I'm sweating. I'm sweating.
like it creamy.
I know that'll
my
not
God.
be the last time we ever hear that.
I loved it, man.
We've got some contestants calling in. Let's
I
get to
loved it.
today's game of Take on Woods. Looks like we got Wyatt calling in. Is this Wyatt?
Yep,
All
this
right,
it is.
You are the guy. Contestant today on Take on Woods, playing for our grand prize. You beat or tie Woods. We will put you into our drawing. Last person, possibly, for a 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas and tickets to Little River Band. They'll be performing on August 5th at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino's International Theater. All right, you get to go first. 5 musical questions, and then Woods comes in. Same 5 questions, and we'll compare scores at the end. Your advantage is picking the category. Here are your choices, Wyatt. We've got Lil Rappers, 5 different rappers who use the diminutive Lil. We've got The Butcher's Knife. This is a listener submitted, a tier 1 submitted category from Anthony the Butcher. Everything having something to do with meat in that category. And we've got In the Pantry, which are 5 bands whose names all include something you might find in your kitchen pantry. So of those 3 categories, Lil Rappers, The Butcher's Knife, or In the Pantry, Wyatt, what would you like to play?
Let's go with Lil Rapper.
Lil Rappers. All right, this one's pretty simple. We're looking for 5 different rappers, and they all put the name Lil in front of their stage name. You'll have 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, just pass. We'll come back to it. We'll start with our 2-second song. Paulie will play a bit of a rap from one of those guys. You need to give me both the title of that song and the artist. I'll let Paulie set that one up as we get going, and then Woods will come back in, and we'll see how you do. So, Wyatt, are you ready to play?
Yep, I'm ready.
Paulie, you ready to go? I'm giving him one more second here to cue this one up, just because we got to get it right on. All right, here we go. 60 seconds on the clock. Category is Lil Rappers. Your time begins when Paul plays our rap. Good luck, Wyatt. Let's take on Woods.
Turn down for what, Lil Jon?
Correct. Which legendary rapper has released 5 albums featuring his real last name, Carter, in the title?
Lil Wayne.
Correct. Born Samir Woods, which Philadelphia rapper is characterized by facial tattoos and piercings and prefers the use of gender-neutral pronouns?
Is that Lil Peep?
That is incorrect. Which Atlanta rapper has risen to prominence in the last 5 years thanks to successful albums including Harder Than Ever and My Turn?
Pass.
Which rapper topped the Billboard Hot 100 charts for a record 19 weeks in 2019 thanks to a viral crossover country rap hit?
Lil Nas X.
Correct. Let's go back to what Atlanta rapper has risen to prominence in the last 5 years thanks to successful albums including Harder Than Ever and My Turn.
Atlanta rapper, Lil Rapper. Let's go Lil Peep again.
All right. That one's Lil Baby. And the other one, Samir Woods, is Lil Uzi Vert. But you did get 3.
You got 3. That's going to be.
That's not
That's
bad.
going to get a dub.
I think that's a good chance. Hold on the line there, Wyatt. We'll bring in Woods. You got to turn down for what, Lil Jon? You got Lil Wayne. You got Lil Nas X. All right. Woods is coming back in. Wyatt's score is locked in. Let Paulie reset her 2-second song. Woods doesn't get the category. Going to make it, I think, much tougher for him. We'll see. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays our music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Wyatt.
Pass.
Which legendary rapper has released 5 albums featuring his real last name Carter in the title?
Carter. That's pass.
Born Symere Woods, which Philadelphia rapper is characterized by facial tattoos and piercings and prefers the use of gender-neutral pronouns?
Pass.
Which Atlanta rapper has risen to prominence in the last 5 years thanks to successful albums including Harder Than Ever and My Turn?
Pass.
Which rapper topped the Billboard Hot 100 charts for a record 19 weeks in 2019 thanks to a viral crossover country rap hit?
Oh, Lil Nas X.
Correct. Go back to our 2-second song.
That's Turned Down for What by Lil Jon.
Correct. Which legendary rapper has released 5 albums featuring his real last name Carter in the title?
I know Carter.
Gotta go.
Carter.
Oh, and that is the game. And by a 3-2 score, Wyatt has beaten Woods today in the category of Lil Rappers.
Lil Rappers.
You got Lil Jon and you got Lil Nas X. The ones you missed, Carter is Lil Wayne.
That's
Symere Woods,
Hold on.
your brother,
Symere Woods.
is Lil Uzi Vert. And the Atlanta rapper at the end, that was Lil Baby.
I thought you might say Jay-Z, Sean Carter.
Sean Carter. That's
But
probably what I was going to say.
Lil Wayne had the album was like the Carter,
The Carter.
the Carter 2, the Carter 3,
Okay.
the Carter 4.
All right.
Good job, Wyatt. Hang on the line
Good
during
job,
our
Wyatt.
break. Paulie will get all your information and make you the last person in our grand prize drawing in the month of May. And we'll give someone a call next week and find out who the winner was of the trip to Las Vegas. But nicely done, Wyatt. You even get to pick a daily ditty if you want to start thinking about that for Monday. You get the selection, stealing it from Woods with an outright victory. Probably not your favorite category.
I
ever.
did not like that category.
Give you
did not like
give you a
it.
little bit of trouble.
It did give me a little trouble.
Thank you for that, Paulie. All right, we got Don't Do This coming up next, and then Craig Elston at the bottom of the hour with a Crossing Stream segment on a Friday. It's been a while since we've had Craig on a Friday. Stay tuned for all of it coming up here on San Diego's #1 sports station. We're back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. And you can get live coverage of every Padres game on 97.3 The Fan through the Odyssey app, wherever you are in the San Diego area. Listen to every pitch of the Padres on Odyssey. Just download the free Odyssey app and search 97.3 The Fan to get started. Fresh off a rousing victory for Wyatt and take on Woods, it is time for Don't Do This. Paulie's actually going to get us started today.
Yeah, just an update on a story we talked about yesterday. Shannon Sharpe leaving Undisputed and FS1. And the update that I saw from Awful Announcing was that Skip Bayless is going to have final say on who the replacement will be.
Okay.
And which I don't really have a problem with that.
No.
Guy should have a say in
absolutely.
who his co-host is going to be.
I got to work with this guy.
Right.
I had a say on my co-host before this show started.
I really didn't.
You didn't have much of a say, did you?
I was lucky to be here.
But the rest of the headline was he won't hire, quote, anybody who challenges him.
What?
All right, that's weak.
It's literally
The
a
whole
debate
point
show.
of the
It's a debate show.
is to find someone who's going to challenge you.
We don't debate a lot, but that's just our personalities. Because I would rather.
But you guys do challenge each other.
We do, and I would rather like make it organic than the old standard. You need to get into it, about this, and I'll take this side, you take that side.
Mhm.
That never happens. It's if you hear us, if Ben makes a point I agree with, I'm gonna go, yeah, good point.
mean, I could take a third job. I could not challenge Skip Bayless for a lot of money.
Dude, no. If they offered you that gig to go in there and sit, I'd go, all right, you got to do what you got to do. They're going to pay you a buttload of money.
I'll still
to go
do this show.
God bless. You trying to die?
No, I mean, I can do that. I can tape in between in the middle of the day with Skip.
Where? In LA?
No, I'll go into the LA studio and then I'll come back here. We'll be fine. We'll make it work.
All right.
So I just have an addendum to that story for you, Paul, from the guys at the Big Lead. Watching the postgame show last night at NBA Finals, Charles Barkley went a bit off topic. He said, he's like you, Woods. He's not on social media, not on Twitter. So he says he gets all of his news from Bleacher Report. You get all your news from the Athletic. He gets everything from Bleacher Report. And he said he read an article that said, quote, if you work with the damn idiot, they'll buy you out.
With the what?
Damn idiot.
You can't say damn.
That's what he said. I'm quoting him.
Well, just say it.
Okay.
Say damn.
Damn.
About damn time.
That, of course, talking about Shannon Sharpe getting bought out. So the idiot in question would be Skip Bayless right there.
It'd be hard to go into that place with that guy on a daily basis. It would.
Yeah. A lot of money.
A lot of money.
Now all I can picture is Charles Barkley just scrolling Bleacher Report all day.
As
like
I
you do the
sit
Athletic.
at home and scroll the Athletic. I don't miss it on Twitter, but I do miss the updates of things. I'm days behind everybody else.
There's been at least 10 times in the last 2 weeks where you've tweeted news.
I have not tweeted news.
No, not tweeted news. You've texted news to us like, and I'm like, we saw that like 8 hours ago on Twitter. Where have you been? But I know where you have been, not on Twitter.
You know where I've been? I've been in a good mental headspace and a better father. That's where I've been.
That's it. You're crushing it on Instagram.
I'm crushing it on Instagram.
I like opening up Instagram and seeing a Ben and Woods story.
A video?
Just 10 seconds of you, some thoughts on the game.
Yeah.
Paul likes opening up Instagram.
Yeah, I like Instagram.
I like Instagram. I got a little small, tiny, kind of boring update.
Not as much as Ben likes pancakes.
That's true. Small, kind of boring update, but I told you about the NBA referee Eric Lewis and his burner account, his alleged burner account. I mean, this is a guy that's been in the league for tons of years, Ben. And they have said to him, NBA spokesperson said, yeah, you're not going to be working the finals. You're not going to be needing your whistle anytime soon. He will not work the NBA finals because there is a current investigation going on into the claims that he did use a burner account. Regarding Eric Lewis, the social media post, we're continuing to review the matter, and he will not be working the finals. I mean, you live to work the NBA final, World Series, whatever. And because of your dumb burner account, you now can't. You can't do it. So probably cost himself a little bit. So 19-year veteran of the league. He's officiated over 1,200 regular and postseason games. And he's going to be watching from the sideline.
You know what? And I understand they have a policy, and he may have violated the policy. It feels like we're almost equating him with Tim Donaghy here. He's not he's not accused of fixing games or anything. He's accused of defending himself and his colleagues on social media.
It's true.
Not the worst thing in the world.
It's true. No. He should not be. They're not going to lock him up.
All right, finally, I'll keep it in the NBA for Do This.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
I'm going to credit Adam Silver. I already think he's the best commissioner in sports. Had his NBA Finals news conference yesterday and was asked, as you would expect, about the Ja Morant, the pending Ja Morant, the investigation, and everyone thinks could be
pending other Ja Morant
suspension coming after he posted himself on social media with a gun again after that cost him 8 games and a trip to rehab last season. And he said, I really do not want to distract from our marquee event here, the NBA Finals, but he did say, quote, we've uncovered a fair amount of additional information, I think, since I was first asked about the situation. I will say we probably could have brought it to a head now, but we made the decision, and I believe the Players Association agrees with us, that it would be unfair to these players and these teams in the middle of the series to announce the results of that investigation. It certainly sounds ominous for Ja Morant.
If you're Ja, this is excruciating.
For all we know, maybe he already knows.
He might.
His agent might know.
His agent might know.
I mean, 50-game suspension or something.
Yeah,
absurd.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Something insane. But
I love that move by the NBA and by Adam Silver. It's not just smart.
It's thoughtful.
It's thoughtful.
Yeah.
Very thoughtful.
I mean,
courteous.
They were talking about it, the guys in for DA this morning, that maybe he should have said no comment, because now everyone's going to wonder and try to, Woj and Shams are going to try to find out what's going on. Who knows this? We can break this news now.
They're probably doing that anyway.
That's true.
They're probably doing
that.
They
didn't forget about the Ja Morant story because
the finals.
Just because the finals were on.
Yeah.
And that's don't and do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
We should have saved a good chunk of time for Craig Elston to join us, give us a nice fleshed out Crossing Streams recommendation. We will talk some Padres, of course, as we always do. That is coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I just found out that today's Crossing Streams recommendation is a show I know my eldest son, big fan of. I watched a little bit of it. I wasn't quite as sure. He said, "Yeah, I wasn't sure you'd love it, Dad," but he loves it. Shelly was watching it. She loved it.
You're tough to gauge on what you like. Like we tried to get you
Even
to
though
watch.
I like everything.
Yeah, you like. I mean, you like crispy waffles and a firm filling and squirt.
Didn't have any loves in there though.
It's true. We've
He
tried
likes everything.
We've
He
tried
loves
so
Steve.
many times, probably, to get him to watch, really good comedies. He's very difficult with comedies. You're very highbrow.
It's not, I don't
mind.
know that it's highbrow. It's just I'm very dry, and when the comedy is just so in your face, sometimes it doesn't make me laugh as much.
So like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, not my favorite.
I almost urinated on myself when I saw Dumb and
It's
Dumber.
so
I mean,
good.
I was like down my leg almost. I was like that. I'm screaming. Something about Mary.
Again, not
So we've tried
hilarious
even
to
The
me.
Hangover.
The Hangover.
But like George Carlin makes
well,
me,
he's great.
so
but that's
that makes me
stand up.
laugh.
That's stand up.
that
That's
type
different.
of, yeah,
Give me a movie.
a funny
What's your
movie.
funniest
The
movie?
funny movie that I love.
Don't say Caddyshack, because even you probably are like,
Yeah.
like the Gopher.
Well, doesn't everyone say that? The Gopher's dumb.
The kids like the Gopher.
Yeah. But one that like really I think is funny.
Yeah. What's
What's
like
the funniest movie? you've ever
What's the
seen?
funniest movie you've ever
Major League is funny
Okay.
to me.
All right, all right.
Major League is
Give
funny.
me a funny
It's a sports
non-sports movie. You sports
Yeah.
robot.
You wouldn't say it's a comedy. You'd say it's a sports movie.
It's a comedy.
Yeah.
It's a sports comedy.
Sports
but
comedy.
it's a sports movie.
What is your? We've tried to get him to watch like
Super bad.
Super
Wedding
Bad.
Crashers,
He didn't like I
Old
love. He
School.
didn't like I Love You, Man.
Yeah.
Which is basically he and my relationship.
100%.
It's us. And he's like, I don't get it. I don't like
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
it. Yeah, probably didn't like that.
Probably didn't see it.
I liked Meet the Parents.
Oh,
right.
genius.
That was
Fine,
pretty good.
I'll give you that one.
That was
really,
pretty good. That was
Really,
funny.
really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really funny. Meet the Parents 2, terrible. Beyond terrible.
Just watched the first one a few days
It's
ago.
so brilliant
I
every
love it.
time it
I love
comes
it
on.
so
God,
much.
De Niro is just unbelievable.
They say genius is Pitt Green.
But you didn't pick it.
But you didn't pick it.
He's so good. I'm really glad I don't have daughters, because that's exactly how I would be if I had daughters.
National
exactly.
Lampoon Vacation and
Okay.
Christmas Vacation.
Okay, good.
Both
good.
of those funny.
That's a little bit in your Chevy Chase.
Chevy
is very
is-
dry.
yeah.
He's my go, dude. Fletch, did you like Fletch?
Yeah, Fletch wasn't bad.
Trying to
Steve
think more
Smith just
in that-
texted
in that
Fletch.
area.
These are all from the early
like
80s.
Uncle Buck.
by the way. Uncle Buck.
The Jerk, Steve Martin.
That was good. But that's in your face comedy.
Yeah, that's not my. That was when Steve just texted me.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just there's different styles of comedy.
There is. You're just tough. It's tough to recommend a comedy to you.
It is.
And this
it's not easy.
This show is a comedy.
Is this show? Is this sports
No, not
adjacent
this.
comedy? This
Craig's-
show.
Craig's show.
Oh, okay. Yes, Craig's show.
Craig's show is a comedy.
I thought you meant this show. Ben and Woods is a comedy.
He's ready. Let's get to
All right, let's
All right,
let's get to
it.
traffic, and then we'll talk to Craig right now on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the all-new Premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad. Not looking too bad on our roads this time, guys. We do have a stalled vehicle blocking the left lane of the College Avenue on-ramp to eastbound 8. And you will find some police activity in the East Village. They're investigating a shooting. This is centered around 16th, Commercial, and Logan Avenue. Premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad with all new 2023 GMC Sierra 1500 elevation package trucks, $4,000 off MSRP, over 15 in stock to choose from. Stop in or shop online at carlsbadbuickgmc.com, a proud member of the Premier Carlsbad family of dealers. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's go out to our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. We are joined right now by our friend Craig Elston at 619 Sports with the San Diego Sockers, the Crossing Streams podcast, and really much more. He's a very busy guy, but makes time for us on Fridays. Good morning, Craig.
Morning, fellas. How are you?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Doing great. Much better after a 7-run inning. I didn't know the Padres had it in them.
We didn't either. And Ben was chiding me for my I'm not practicing really what I preach, Craig, and he's right. He's absolutely right. He asked me, I was so bummed after the loss yesterday morning. And then he said, how are you going to feel tomorrow if they win? Being today, I said, I'll feel elated. And that's exactly how I felt this morning. They are definitely affecting my moods. It's much easier without Twitter. I don't get in the weeds. I'm happy for 15 minutes. I'm sad for 15 minutes. So that's just how it's going. But new edition looks pretty good so far, Craig. That's
real,
been nice
real
to
or
see.
mirage? Would you say?
Yeah, real or mirage
for Gary Sanchez?
Oh, mirage.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. He's hit 199 since 2020. All hot pockets are accepted. All right. Like,
yes, absolutely.
We'll take him in. We'll take him in any flavor. And Gary Sanchez is demonstrably better than what Austin Nola is doing and has done. By the way, not only over the course of this year, but you could kind of make an argument for last year offensively as well. Gary Sanchez is not a great defensive catcher.
No.
And those warts show up over time.
Yes.
So that's something I kind of keep in the back of my mind. But, you know, he's a right-handed bat with a little pop, and a little pop is all you need out of the bottom of the Padres lineup to turn it into a functional lineup. They haven't had a little pop. They've had 3 outs in a row, over and over again. And that's what the problem has been. Part of the dysfunction of the Padres lineup has been the bottom of the lineup does nothing. So the top of the lineup has no one to drive in, and then they need to all work together. And usually they have not done that, but we've seen it a lot more over the course of the last road trip. And if Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to start hitting, you hope if Machado's coming back tonight, like everyone says, that he's back healthy and able to drive the ball. You've got a chance, knock wood, I got wood over here, to get something going and to win another series.
Settle down over there. All right.
The month of May, Craig, was a very bizarre one for the San Diego Padres. They had a 10-16 record and a positive 12 run differential over the course of the month. You don't usually see that combination.
Great ERA as
in
well.
baseball. Best ERA in baseball for the month. If we just looked at the last 2 weeks, would anybody be that concerned about the San Diego Padres if there wasn't the context of the slow start for some guys and everything that happened before that? If we were just looking last 2.5 weeks of the Padres, we'd be going, yeah, they're doing fine. There's no real concerns about this team right now.
You know, if you just looked at the last 2-3 weeks of my relationship with that girl, everything was great if you ignored everything that happened before it. You can't ignore everything that happened before it, Ben.
He likes that bit. He likes that bit.
But I mean, trending is important. I'm not saying that it doesn't count. It does count what happened before, but what's trending is the most important thing for a team right now. And the trend wise is not that is concerning as what we saw earlier. Things look better. The offense is starting to get going. Pitchers like Blake Snell and Joe Musgrove are starting to look more like they're looking.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like I'm right on the knife's edge of, everything is about to fall apart with this team anymore.
I mean, but ask me when it was 1-0 down.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Same.
In the third, and the Padres were getting completely shoved by Jesus Luzardo, and you're going, oh my God, they could lose this series. They could lose 2 series on this road trip. Is the offense going to show up? And then it showed up. Explosive offense counts just as much as dripping in 1 run every inning, and the Padres need to be more explosive. Showing that explosiveness is tremendous. Getting marginal production. Let's not forget Brandon Dixon getting actual hits for this team. We had an argument on last night's Padres Hot Tub. Should Carpenter or Dixon start today at DH? And I get that the platoon matchup says Carpenter. I would start Dixon.
I'm with you.
He's hot. He's
hot
hitting
hand.
the homer. He's hitting the ball to right field too, Woodsy.
Yeah, hot hand. And by the way, his swings yesterday looked 50 times better than they did before.
I'm gonna make a counterpoint to both of you, just because there's a good chance Manny Machado is back, which means I think Rougned Odor might be the designated hitter for the Padres in the game tonight.
Well, it does feel better, though, guys, to have options in Odor, in Dixon that now have a taste
and now
of
in
some success.
Sanchez
And
as a potential DH on days when Austin Nola is behind the plate.
This feels that all the depth we were freaking. Not that it's solved by any means, because
the names
baseball,
won't blow you away.
The names don't blow you away,
they're
but
swinging it well.
They're swinging it good right now. So I do feel a touch better about it. I'm sure you do as well, Craig.
Well, absolutely, and it's. It's sometimes I feel like Bob Melvin is the guy trying to keep the nuclear reactor in between the levels You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the pitching's been running so hot, but you get to the point where those rods start to get exposed and you might have a chance of a meltdown over there. So you need the offense to be that cooling water that helps to soothe the pitching staff and to allow them to occasionally struggle, and you're still able to get by. If the offense is starting to fill in that gap, if the water's starting to fill up in there in the reservoir of offense, that's going to help this team bank wins. And you know, I'll break it down very simply because I think it's super attainable and it's something you can track. There's 34 games between now and the end of the start of the All-Star break. Padres need to win 20 of those games.
Yeah.
They got to go 20-14. That's at a minimum. Okay. Now, would I like them to win 20 games in the month of June alone? Yes. Could they do it?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
They could get on a roll and they could do that. But 20-14 would get you to 2 games over 500 at the All-Star break. You're not in the doldrums. You're moving in the right direction. As you were talking about, Ben, you're trending positively now over 6 weeks, not just over a game or two, which has really been the Padres' problem this year, is a good game, a terrible game, a good game,
Yes.
no offense at all. So, you know, if you can do that, then you're going to be in position where you can make a small move where you're not selling out a Jackson Merrill or one of the key pieces in the farm system and improving the team enough to be a good, solid playoff team like we were last year. If you don't make that 20-win mark from here on out, are you really going to sell something big at 500 or below 500 where you're really pushing to get a 2 out of 3 on the road? Like, is that the right thing to do for the organization? So I think now is the time. Like, oh, it's early. No, now is the time. You got to win 20 of the next 34 games.
Yeah, at least. That's such a good point, Craig. I like that you went in the number there. Talking to our pal Craig Elston here on Ben and Woods this morning. And, you know, by literally all accounts, everyone is saying this trade deadline could be, there's so much parity right now, Craig, in the NL. This trade deadline could be incredibly boring. So you do want to get to a point where you don't need, I got to go out and get, like you said, here's Salas and Merrill for Corbin Burns, who's not pitching well right now at all. You don't want to do that. You want to be able to say, oh, yeah, we could add this bat, this outfielder, this bullpen arm, and let's let the chips fall with where they may with our $300 million payroll. So I like that point a lot. And the road is ahead of them, man. They just got to start winning a ton of games. I hope June is their month.
Yeah. And, you know, just the last little button I would put on that is when this team was struggling, you got a small glimpse of a dark potential future, which is having a lot of veterans that start to play badly together, that are all locked into long-term deals. And when you're looking around going, what can we do to improve the team? There's very few things you can do because you're laden with a high salary already. And that's 4 players who aren't performing. Keeping pieces like Merrill and Salas extends the window for the Padres, offers them alternatives, offers them the opportunity to move off of guys on the big league roster as opposed to assuming that they're all going to be here for the next 5 years. And I think that's really, really important that we don't paint ourselves completely in a corner unless we absolutely have to, or it's the move that wins you a World Series.
Paul says, I think you should leave, Craig. So we'll talk to you next week. Oh, no, wait. That's your Crossing Streams recommendation this Friday. I think you should leave.
And you know, you guys were just talking about your favorite comedy movies coming in, and I offer a lot of comedy streaming television options for you here in this segment. Without question, the funniest show on streaming television is I Think You Should Leave, with Tim Robinson, his sketch comedy show on Netflix that's in its 3rd season. I recommended it a year ago, I think, and nothing makes me like laugh out loud, guffaw, snort, like just a show that continuously will put you on your heels and make you laugh. This is a sketch comedy show that is incredibly fast moving. The average episode runtime is about 19 minutes. and they flow into each other that you just don't want to stop. You want to watch all 6 in a row, and I did. And it's one laugh after another. Tim Robinson is incredible, plastic-faced, always puts himself in ludicrous situations, short sketches where somebody takes a premise and pushes it insanely far. He's a meme factory. So many of the memes that you've for those of us who have abandoned Twitter, you've no longer seen, but used to see all the time, him in the hot dog suit, who's crashed the hot dog car into the store, going, "We're all wondering who did this." It's just insane, crazy comedy, and no, it's not highbrow.
Ben, it's not Arthur.
Yeah, it's not English wit, and I love English wit.
He loves English wit.
But I Think You Should Leave is just, it's the funniest, silliest, craziest show that you absolutely must watch.
Ben often gets
Not
caught.
Hugh Grant.
No, Ben often gets caught between the moon and New York City when it comes to his comedies. Certainly,
Dudley Moore.
God, it was like 100 years.
I
ago.
watched with we had it on at home, and I watched like 4 of the sketches. 3 of them where I was like, this is stupid. I think one of them I actually did laugh out loud. That's not a bad, for comedy, that's not the worst batting average. It's like baseball. If you're hitting 300 in comedy, you're probably doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Right. And especially sketches that are going fast, where it's not a 4-minute bog like Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live's been batting like 160 for 20 years on what is actually funny on that show. But hey, when it hits, and it's dang funny still.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Couldn't recommend it more. I think you should leave 3 seasons. You could literally watch them all like in a day if you wanted to. It's that quick and it's that fun.
And now I think you should leave, Craig, because we're out of time.
But
that's fair.
We literally think you should leave. We love you, buddy. Appreciate
Thanks,
it. Thanks,
Craig. Craig Elston with us, Crossing Streams podcast, Padres Hot Tub on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Also, this hour on The Fan is brought to you by Cars.com. Whether you're looking for the perfect summer road trip car or something you can zip around in, visit Cars.com today. They have over 2 million cars for your 2 million summer possibilities. Head to Cars.com. Check out the possibilities. Cars.com. Where to next? Which is a good question for this program as well. Where to next?
You mentioned
Woods.
Ted Lasso. You've been watching Ted Lasso. It's lost me a little bit, but I've finished. And that's a comedy that you enjoy.
I do
very much.
I do. I don't know if I enjoy the comedy or just kind of the feel good.
It's a feel good aspect
of it more
because the comedy kind of sucks. Lately.
There's some funny moments here and there, but I kind of like the feel good aspect.
It does make you feel good.
Also, when we come back, I have a birthday shout out today.
Okay. The shout out.
I'll tell you who it's for. It's my wife's birthday.
Oh, it is.
She's
today.
doing
I did not know that.
She's doing the weirdest thing for her birthday.
Can't wait to hear it.
I will let you know when we come back on San Diego's
titillating
number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Welcome back. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Happy to be here with you. We are halfway home on a Victory Friday. Yes, it feels so good to be 1-0 in the month of June. Cannot put all of that gross, caked up toothpaste that you left on the counter. You cannot put that back in the tube from a terrible April and a terrible May. We start fresh, we turn the page, and we move on and try to dominate this month. That's what we're always going to try to do that here on Ben and Woods. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, our executive producer. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, here as well. Benjamin titillated all of us with a tease about his wife. Happy birthday, Shell.
Yep.
It's her
June
birthday
2nd.
today.
Happy birthday to my wife, Shelly.
Okay, happy
She's
birthday.
kind of having to share the day. It's also our son's high school graduation. So she's actually going to be doing her celebration more tomorrow.
That's probably a good idea.
And she's doing something that I don't know. You may have done this before. It might be up your and your wife's alley. I had never heard of it before, but she's going out to Joshua Tree and going to the Integratron in Landers, California. Have you ever heard of the Integratron?
I don't know what the Integratron is.
Okay.
I have done, much to probably no one's surprise, the Joshua Tree solo retreat to find myself. I've done that.
Okay.
I wanted to go see where Graham Parsons died, so I did. Drove out there, went to that hotel, did the whole thing, and stayed out there and drank and played guitar, and very, very searcherish behavior.
So some people growing up in Southern California may have heard of this. The Integratron was built back, I believe, in the 1950s or 60s by a guy who was really into UFOs, a guy named George Van Tassel. Looks like a little observatory, like for contacting and being contacted by aliens out in the deserts. And he had all these weird claims. It looks like it's like a round, like a cupola structure, like an observatory sort of thing, but it's in the desert. He said it was capable of things like rejuvenation, anti-gravity, time travel, like some sort of nexus of the universe. You went to that place on the way to Yuma.
Paulie
Something similar.
Paulie and I did the Center of the Universe.
Center of the Universe.
Amazing.
This is one of the best times we've ever had.
This is something a little bit similar, but now
driving down the what the hell is that?
I'm turning
Googled
around
it before the next exit. I said, "Oh, we got to do the
turn around."
So he passed away in the 70s.
He took a lot of LSD,
probably. Yeah, and then there's some new owners, but now so they have turned this into, apparently it's got this perfect like sonic like structure acoustically, and they do things called sonic baths where you go in and you lay like on a mat or a cot, and you have these bowls that have these frequencies, and you lay in there for like an hour, and they play these frequencies, and you
pull up the bowl frequencies, Paulie, if you're not already.
You take a bath on these quartz bowls just in the sound.
And
it's supposed to have
sound.
A rejuvenating, calming, like good for your mental health sort of effect to spend some time with these like perfect sounds in the sound bath inside the Integratron, way up there, like in Joshua Tree in the middle of nowhere, California.
You may think that I would poo-poo this. I think this sounds awesome.
That's what I thought you might be interested in.
I really want to know how it goes and whether or not I should do it.
So I know you're a fan of the Arctic Monkeys.
I am,
right?
yeah.
So they recorded part of their song Secret Door at the Integratron.
Oh, that's cool.
In 2008 as well.
They've done a lot of stuff out there in Joshua Tree.
But what makes Shelly such a great wife is that she said, I don't have to go.
Nothing would have made me happier, though, content-wise, to have you back here on Monday and say, tell me about your Integratron experience. All right, we shouldn't do this after losses.
And we're not acoustically perfect here.
Well, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
So. That's fantastic. That's so calming. I love it.
Do you feel younger or
no
rejuvenated in
It's
any
kind
way?
of hurting my ears.
Is it? I like it.
I don't think it's for everyone,
I really like
but
it.
for some people, they swear by this. They absolutely swear by it.
I mean, I'm doing ayahuasca.
She's
I'm
also
doing
going
that
up
in the
to
next
that.
year or so. I have to try.
There's a music venue
that
that's close up
would
there
do.
called Pappy and Harriet's.
Pappy and Harriet's is the
She's going
coolest
there, and
place.
she thinks it's the coolest. So she's doing that as well. It's not just the Integratron, but going to go up there for her birthday.
I want to go to the Integratron very badly now.
Now you have that option at some point.
Very into that. Very into that. I like the sound of those bowls. There are people that do those bowls, and I think, you know, I'm into golf. I still like golf. I haven't played in a while because of my hands. I still play baseball, but I could see me years down the road, that being my bit, making sounds with bowls, much to my wife's chagrin.
Like a DJ spinning records, but instead
bowls of
you've got
water
bowls.
all over my desk, and me in a robe and a beard, just making sounds with bowls. I'm very, very into that. I'm very, very into that whole scene. And you got the was it you don't have to go, or I want to go? I don't want.
Well, she's going to stay out there for a couple of days. She loves the warmth, the desert, the hot, and
the desert
I've
too.
got to work on Sunday, so it would have been a quick change. We all have to stay today for
graduation.
So I would have just been going all the way out, and it's not. It's like from here, it's like three and a half hours. It's up there, and she said that's too much driving for
It's
you
a
to
piece.
do. So,
Yeah, it is.
yeah. I decided she was probably right about
Would
that.
you have gone?
I would have tried. I mean, yeah,
The
if
Integratron.
I was off for a few days, I would have gone to see what it was all about.
to do it?
Yeah. I don't think it can hurt, can it?
No, it's not going to
sound.
hurt you.
Head's not going to explode or
What about
anything.
ayahuasca?
I don't know about that.
Come on.
I don't like being altered.
Do it together.
You've never been altered. You don't know that you don't like being
No,
altered.
remember that time I had the that
Alka-Seltzer.
Alka-Seltzer, yeah.
This is a different experience from what I've heard. I think you would really enjoy it. We'll try it.
Today is also Lou Gehrig Day.
Sealed little package
Yeah.
looked very reputable.
He was so sick, and I gave him Alka-Seltzer. This is like first.
Yeah,
This is
was
like in
back
the
at the old
first
station.
couple months, and he took it, and it got like, Paulie, what's in Alka-Seltzer? Like aspirin, essentially.
Right.
Aspirin and Sprite. is
It's
what it
like
tastes-
some special street version of Alka-Seltzer.
Now we slowed that down a little bit,
Just a little.
but
Still
still,
hear him slurring.
he was out of his gourd that day. Well, that sounds awesome. I'm now really want to go to my wife's rolling. I can see her driving the kids to school, rolling her eyes right now because she knows that I'm going to hit her with an Integratron trip in the next year.
I feel like Hannah might like that though. No?
I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know if she would or not.
I mean,
She's
being
not a real
Lauren
s-
Nancaro's daughter, though, felt like
She's not
it's
a
kind of a little
searcher.
hippie-ish. And
She's not a searcher.
Yeah.
She's not a hippie.
All right.
She's not a searcher at all. I'm the searcher. I'm the one constantly looking down the horizon, looking inward. That's not how she rolls.
if anyone's been to the Integratron, give us a call.
oh, weigh in, yeah.
833-288-0973.
Or not Iowa.
Let us know
Very interested in both of them.
what my wife
I
has in
told you
store
guys
for
I
her.
would have done the Aaron Rodgers retreat. I think that sounds incredible.
How long again? How long was it?
It was 3
3
days.
days?
I couldn't have done 3. There's no way. I'll try anything. Like it's like a cold plunge. They always say, hey, to make a cold plunge work, you got to stay in there for 8 minutes. I'm like, I'll give you 2. I'll do 2 and still feel I'll get the idea. I'm not doing 8. I can't do so I can't do 3.
Could you do 2 days?
Meeting in the middle. I could do a day and a half, Paulie.
Like
Like-
arrive late in the day,
late in the day.
You're a
fall
dabbler.
asleep in the
I'm a
dark.
dabbler.
You
wake
dab-
up,
you
I'm a
dabble.
dabbler.
You're a
That's what
dabbler.
I will not fully commit. Yes, man. You have just psychoanalyzed me. I'm a dabbler. That's what I am.
Yeah.
I'm a dabbler. I couldn't do 3. 3 is too much. And I'm a quitter too. So I would walk out after a day and a half and be like, I'm not doing this. Can't do this anymore. And when I'm ready, I'm ready. You know, you guys know that. Oh, that's fascinating to me. All right. The Integratron. Well, that sounds awesome. And I'd like to do that. And I'd also like to learn how to make sounds with bowls at some point.
On a serious note, today is Lou Gehrig Day. Want to shout out to our friend Sarah Lang.
Yes.
Mark Fisher, of course, C. Fisher family. Big day in promoting cures and research toward ALS. And I know they keep working toward it. And someday they're going to have a cure. One of the nastiest diseases out there. You'll see it in Major League Baseball today. They will be honoring and having some celebrations. I'm sure something will happen at Petco Park tonight as well. I'm surprised Paulie isn't planning a vacation. You know, he loves holidays like Lou Gehrig Day and Memorial Day.
What poolside cabana will you be attending this weekend to celebrate Lou Gehrig's Day, Paul?
Oh, my God. What's tomorrow? I'll be at the Padres game tomorrow.
Padres game tomorrow. Good. Yeah, I don't know that we're going Monday as a show and as a team here at 97.3 The Fan, celebrating a really, really nice number one. It's very, very difficult to become the number one station. May never happen again, so we're going to celebrate it while it does. Going to be going with the whole crew out there, so that should be fun on Monday night. We'll have some stories, I'm sure. We got to help pick the menu with Adam. Adam came in and said, "What would you guys like?" And Ben wanted all sorts of weird things and all like now. And we went somewhere in the middle. We didn't get like the most exotic options, but we
opted against the ballpark sushi. People were skeptical about ballpark sushi. It's
did
gas station sushi.
Yeah.
I think no one's 100% sure about it.
Sushi. Nope.
What was that?
That was me
Echo on
again.
the computer.
But we went somewhere in the middle. We didn't go hot dogs and Cracker Jacks. We went a little bit better, a little bit fancier. So we'll have all that to report next
I believe we are getting the Cardiff Crack tri-tip nachos.
week. Absolutely. Paulie and I pitched a
favorite of just about everybody.
Yep, that's right.
Looking forward to that on Monday.
Mhm.
That'll be fun. 4-game series against the Cubbies. And
What'd you call it? It's a wraparound.
It's a wraparound series where you play Friday through Monday, not Friday to Sunday like most 3-game series. You get a 4-gamer here against the Cubs, a team that, by the way, they're in last place. Not a bad ball club. There is so much parity. Craig just talked about this as well. You mentioned it when we were talking to him. In the National League, there is no team that is even remotely out of it.
That's amazing to me.
Right now, the Cubs, dead last place, and technically the Nationals are 24-32, so they have the worst record. The Cubs are 24-31. So half a game out of the worst record. Rockies are 24-34. 24 wins is the minimum right now in the National League. Padres have 26. That's 2 more than the minimum. The Cubs are only 4.5 games out of first place.
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at the wild card standings right now. If the season ended today, and it's not even close to ending, and I hate this game, and I don't know why I'm playing it, Pittsburgh Pirates are in the NL wild card.
Yeah, still 28-27, hanging around 500 after a hot start. They've cooled off, but they're right there. But there's no team that we're definitely out of it.
The Rockies are 5.5 games out of a playoff spot.
Yeah,
5.5.
They
not
technically have the worst record in the National League, and they are 5.5 games out of a playoff spot.
It's incredible,
and that's after losing 4 in a row.
Yeah,
to get to that spot.
Padres 2.5 out of a playoff spot right now. Their expected win-loss is 29-27 right now,
which would be in a playoff spot right now.
Yep, that's exactly right. So they are 26-30. Imagine, no, I'm not even going to let myself say it.
But the Cubs have the same expected winning record, I believe, as the Padres do right now.
They do. But again, this is a team you should beat handily. It is. And I know what our record says, and I know you're only as good as your record, and I know you run differential, and I know ERA, and I know everything else. The Cubs are a team that you should beat. Will we get Stroman and who's the lefty? Steele? Will we get those guys this year?
So today is Jamison Tyone.
He's been terrible.
He's been pretty bad.
Tonight is one you have to, which they've done okay in game ones of series. They need to put the wood to that guy today.
Tomorrow, according to my my ESPN matchups, is Drew Smiley against Yu Darvish.
Should handle that guy.
Sunday is Stroman, Ryan Weathers. Game where you'd feel like maybe the Cubs have the advantage. Stroman's coming off a 1-hitter against the Rays. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to pitch great, and then Monday is Kyle Hendricks, Blake Snell.
Kyle Hendricks is that guy. He's not pitched well, I don't think, this year, but he's that guy that can just kind of lull you to sleep. Who's Snell on Monday?
Snell on Monday.
All right. Yeah, I mean,
all subject to
change
ESPN and change,
sure.
But that's what they have lined up here for the next 4 days on ESPN.
All right. Again, you need, you win this series, you got to win 3 games. So a little bit taller of an order, but certainly doable for the San Diego Padres.
Got a little update on the ayahuasca front.
Oh, good.
A lot of people are saying that be prepared to vomit.
I don't like vomit.
I don't either.
It comes out both ends.
I like a lot of things, but that's not something that I like.
All right.
Chef Ryan says taking ayahuasca with Ben would be about as comfortable as watching Basic Instinct with your mom.
with your mom. That sounds terrible. Why, I wonder? Why would it be uncomfortable with Ben?
Ayahuasca with Ben?
Yeah, well, ayahuasca Tuesdays with Ben.
No, weekly segment.
Yeah, we got it sponsored.
Sounds like it could be a new podcast. Ayahuasca with Ben.
We got it sponsored. Yeah, and enjoy. We can't wait for every Tuesday when you take your dose of ayahuasca.
Is that before or after Jesse comes on as the incorporator?
By the time you'll be peaking by the time Jesse comes on. So
we got a lot to get to still on a Friday. Busy Friday show. Eno Saris, our normal Thursday guest, couldn't make it yesterday, so we're going to bump him back. He will join us later this hour. And then Bob Scanlon having to live in a brave new world of MLB-produced Padres broadcasts. He's been a huge part of it the last couple of days. Get his thoughts on the road trip that was back in San Diego. We appreciate Scan getting up with us. He'll join us on a Friday at 9 o'clock this morning. And then around the report, all leading up to 10 o'clock and the end of our week here on 97.3 The Fan. So stay tuned for all of it. We'll be right back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. tonight. Henry's Pub, located at 618 Fifth Avenue downtown. Going to be giving away Padres tickets, 4 packs of tickets to SeaWorld and tickets to see Guns N' Roses at Snapdragon Stadium. That's today at 2 o'clock, winning Chris at Henry's Pub. And then maybe, just maybe, get to see Manny Machado back on the field for the San Diego Padres tonight. He's been ramping up his work.
Now,
Bob Melvin said he can't really comment.
Craig
but
alluded to it.
Yeah.
Is this all the speculation on social media that he'll be back?
It's more than just social media. I mean, Bob Melvin kind of said it without saying it. They don't want to lock in. You know, Manny wakes up today and he goes, just not quite feeling it yet. They could easily make it another day or two. But I think the plan seems to be that if Manny continues how he's progressed throughout the week, that today would be the day that he's expected to return to the Padres lineup.
It'd be great to see him again, man.
For sure.
Great to see him again.
Nice
guy to return again.
Helps with the depth as well. Nelson Cruz apparently tweaked a little hammy on that, trying to beat out the infield single deep into the hole.
Yes,
a couple of days ago, which was it may have been why Gary Sanchez was the DH, or maybe Gary Sanchez was going to be the DH either way, because Padres DHs have been slumping, and Gary Sanchez is a new toy who seems to be
they love the new
hot
toy
right now.
Yeah.
So they use the new
rolling,
toy
man.
while he's rolling, and they put him in the lineup.
So we haven't seen Rugi
for days.
Like
he's the hottest hitter in baseball, it seemed like, and the Padres face a couple of lefties in a row, and Rougned Odor's been just sitting on the bench.
And I told y'all about the it pops up on my Instagram, and I'm not the world's biggest Eric Burns fan. He was kind of a jerk about Manny. And I'm not the world's biggest Will Clark fan. He's just kind of psychotic. I will say, every time it pops up on my Instagram, this little bit that they do together, I watch every single one. And Will was talking about, the difference. He's obviously really old school guy, and, believes in, if you look at me sideways, I'm going to plunk you and stuff like that. But he was talking about how managers today just simply don't ride the hot hand. They just don't. Rougned Odor, one of the hottest hands you could possibly ride. Well, we got a couple lefties coming up, so you're going to sit. He said that's not it, man. When you're on one, and when you're rolling and the ball looks good and your swing feels locked in, you don't care. The guy's right-handed, left-handed, side armor, submariner, slider guy, sinker guy. You don't care. You just want to be in the box. And I understand.
Yeah, but don't you also maybe agree with the statement that using guys in the right way against the right matchups is what makes them a hot hand? And if you start using them the wrong way, you're going to cool them off really quickly. Why would you want to cool a guy off by putting him in bad matchups against guys who maybe he has struggled against, or, a lefty against another tough lefty?
Yeah,
when
again,
just keep putting them in situations where they succeed and they'll continue to stay hot.
More of an observation than a criticism. I understand how the modern game works. It took me a while. It did. I understand matchups. I understand that, the thing that drove me the nuttiest about Twitter was the people complaining about the different lineups every day. And that just doesn't. No team runs the same guys.
Every team runs out between 145 and 161 different lineups every year. Pretty much at this point.
The one that, man, freaking Melvin and Preller always tinkering with this lineup. Nobody can get comfortable. It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way anymore. And I understand that fully.
Let's talk to Eno more about this as well.
Lineup construction
and riding a hot hand versus playing the matchups, because I think that's a big deal right now in modern baseball.
And I think obviously it's player dependent as well. Will Clark would be different than Rougned Odor.
Of course.
Will Clark was a better hitter than Rougned Odor.
And he was out there every day.
He was
That's
out
what
there
guys
every
like
day.
Tony Gwynn and star players are not going to. I mean,
Boach never came to Tony.
Soto's out there every day.
Right.
He's not riding a hot hand or not. He's out there every day.
Exactly. But when you are getting production from those bottom of the order guys, and those guys are hitting, it does make sense in my mind to say, you know what, man, dude, you're seeing it well, get in there. But we also don't know, did Rugi tweak something? Did he roll an ankle?
True.
You just never know.
But my point that I was kind of getting to is that a week ago we would have said the Padres' depth is a disaster.
Yeah.
It is maybe the thing that will keep them from going where they want to go. And now you look a week later with Gary Sanchez coming in, Rougned Odor getting hot, and Manny Machado possibly returning, and now you've got a bench with a possibly a hot Odor, a Sanchez, a Dixon who is starting to swing the bat well, a Zokar's back giving you stuff off the bench, and you look at the Padres' depth and you go, looks as good as any team's depth in baseball right now.
Isn't it amazing what can happen when your offense just performs to a small shred of their capability? Isn't it truly amazing? And you look at it and that's what makes a team deep is guys doing their jobs, guys producing, knocking in a bunch of runs and working walks and stealing and everything else. So it's called, yesterday's game was a good indication of what this team is capable of, and just they are capable of bodying guys. And again, I want to stick to this point, and Bomel made it after the game. We had an approach against Luzardo. We had one. We had an idea of what we wanted to do. He's very difficult to hit, but we stuck with it. As bad as it was early, it paid off for us in the end, and it absolutely did. I thought Fernando's knock to right field, Ben, perfect example. I'm going to take what they give me, and he did, and bam, right center field. That's when guys are locked in, man. That's a good approach. Right center field. There are hits over there. Go get them. And it's nice to see the pod starting to do that.
Going to continue the smart baseball conversation. Our regular Thursday guest, Eno Sarris, is going to join us a day late. Stay tuned. That is coming up next. Rolling on with Bennett Woods on a Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 8:38. It is Friday morning. It is Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. I was just looking at newsletter this morning from the UT. And interesting comments from Joe Musgrove about what was going on with the hitters earlier. And he said, yeah, I'm not a hitter, but from my pitcher's perspective,
he's a pretty good hitter.
He is not for a pitcher. He's not a bad hitter. He said, from my perspective, it felt like early in the season, our hitters were maybe guessing more, looking for, what pitch was coming instead of just attacking anything in the strike zone. And he said, from a pitcher's perspective, from my perspective, it puts more stress on me when I know that the other team is going to be attacking in the zone. They're not, waiting me out. Joe feels like, hey, if this guy's going to take strike one, strike two, I can be aggressive. I can be the aggressor. If the batter is going to be swinging and maybe it's a first pitch, puts more stress on the pitcher that way. And
to make a great pitch.
Yeah, right away and be more fine. And you're always a little hesitant about where you're putting the ball because you don't know if the guy's going to swing. And he feels like the Padres lately have been attacking more in the zone and thus getting better results at the plate. It's a theory.
It is. It's the beauty of the chess match of baseball, right? I mean, Ben, you can see that going in a million different directions. If a pitcher's got his good stuff, he's like, swing. Yes, swing early. Attack me all you want. Because if you do hit it, you're going to nub it weakly somewhere. You're going to get under it. You're going to pop it up. It is a beautiful, beautiful chess match that you can't think too much about.
Ultimately, it's a game of adjustments.
Yes.
If you know another team is attacking, as a pitcher, you can exploit that. I mean, you're throwing breaking balls on the first pitch and going, all right, swing at this. It's about to break out of the zone, and now I'm up 1-0 because I know you're swinging.
Yep.
So it's constant adjustments from both sides, and that's why a baseball season is always an ebb and flow of good and bad. Because one team does well, everyone else adjusts to what they're doing well and makes them try to do something else, and it's not always easy. Very few baseball teams are so good that we can win in 5 different styles, and if you take this away, we'll just beat you this way. It doesn't always work like that. So it's a constant game of adjustments over a 162 game schedule.
And I've never had a problem. I say you'll watch Tatis, who's been very aggressive on the first pitch this year. Manny Machado, notoriously one of the best first pitch hitters. He likes to go up. He's ready to hit. We talked to Eno. No, we talked to the guys from Cespedes Family Barbecue who talked to Nick Castellanos a couple of weeks ago. No one swings more in baseball than Nick Castellanos. No one. And they asked him, why? Why do you swing so much? He goes, when I get in the box, I want to hit. I'm ready to hit. I'm going to attack you. That's my plate, my box. I'm there to do damage. And you're basically a vessel to get me to the damage that I want to do. Don't we get furious, though, when Tatis leads off a game and hacks at the first pitch and Randy rolls it over to shortstop? Yes.
And there's nothing better for a pitcher than a quick out.
Dream.
A quick out, one pitch, one out.
The guys that stand up there and grind you out and foul off tough pitches, which is something that Bomel was talking about weeks ago when he really got into the team for the first time this year. It was, guys, these at-bats are not competitive. Like, they get 2 strikes on you guys, and you guys are rolling over. You are giving up. That's what I want. I just want to see more. I just want to see tougher at bats. I want to see guys not staring at a third strike ever. Like, be ready to hit with 2 strikes, right? There's an instance yesterday. Now, we were up big. It was no big deal. But Austin Nola strode to the plate, worked a 2-0 count. What happens on 2-0? I mean, they've already given up a ton of runs. I think there were runners on base. It's 2-0 count. If I'm a hitter, I'm ready to mash 2-0. If he throws me a slider, so be it. I'm ready to hit. What does he do? Watches 94 down the middle. And I'm just, those are the ones where you're like, why are you so locked up that you don't know or can't pull the trigger? So yeah, it's a chess match though. I mean, and like you said, the game of adjustments is that's how you win a World Series, by being better at adjusting than everybody else.
Paul, he's still trying to track down Eno. We'll give him a few more minutes here. Did you notice any differences? I did, in game 2 of the MLB produced Padres telecast yesterday. I thought clearly the score bug was improved. It was shifted over more to the corner where it should be, not quite as obtrusive. It may have even been a little bit smaller than it was in game 1. I thought the audio was improved. As I said yesterday, we can't grade on the very first day of a new telecast and say, well, this was great or this was terrible. It was the first day. And the fact that I saw some improvements from day 1 to day 2 was very encouraging. Did you notice anything? No, about the telecast yesterday?
No.
Nothing. Just about the baseball.
I never do.
Paulie, did you notice anything about yesterday's telecast?
Score bug. They moved it over a little bit. It was smaller.
Much
took
better.
Up less of the screen,
Much
which
better.
I appreciated.
Than the first day. You never notice anything.
Never. You could have a wiener on there one day and then not the next day, and I probably wouldn't a wiener hologram on the broadcast, and I'd probably miss it. I'm not very observant when it comes to things like that. I'm just not. It's never uniforms.
Still no
like
pregame show. I don't know if we're going to get one today. They said home games, 15-minute pregame show. So maybe, I don't know if Bob Scanlon, we'll talk to him at top of the hour. Maybe he's hosting a pregame show tonight. I would think he would know at some point.
I think
if he was doing that or not. So we can get a little more details on how it's gone for him. Step more on his plate, it feels like, for Bob Scanlon, pre and post.
Yeah.
He's a busy guy because he fills in for Jesse when Jesse's off.
Really surprised. I'm going to ask him how surprised he was to not get the call to the bullpen this week.
They needed so much from him on the new broadcast.
That's true.
That they didn't have anyone to fill in for Jesse. So Jesse just had to wear it the last couple of days, sounding like death warmed over and calling the games. But good for Jesse for, grinding through it. Yeah.
Poor Andy Heilbrunn on standby. Hey, we need you to get on a cross-country flight to
Miami.
Cross country. Yeah, that's true. I
Plus, I don't think she's a team employee the way Bob is. So you'd have to come up with a whole agreement before that, right?
God,
so that's a weird dynamic for this week. It was not the greatest week for Jesse to all of a sudden
get sick
for the Padres, obviously debuting a new broadcast that included Bob and Don and Mud.
Well, again, shout out to Diamond Sports Group. You guys really knocked it out of the park with this bit. Really, really cool.
Oh, and did you see the judge yesterday ruled against them? So
good.
So Diamond Sports Group was asking, not for the Padres, that's already said and done, it's over, but some of the other teams.
Okay, I was confused why the Padres weren't mentioned as one of the 4 teams.
Because the Padres, they have a 20% ownership stake in that Diamond Sports Group, so it was treated as separately from some of the other ones. But the other Diamond Sports Groups were asking to get a lowered rights fee payment. They basically said, yes, we entered into this deal with several teams, like the Marlins are on Bally, and I think the Tigers and a couple of others. But the business is different now. All this cord cutting, it's not worth it anymore. We need to basically lower what we're paying to make this make sense. And we asked a judge, hey, we're in bankruptcy now. Can you force Major League Baseball to take less, whatever it is, 30% less or 25? I don't know what the number was, but the judge ultimately ruled yesterday. They said, no, it's your contract. You either pay it or you give the rights fees back. You give the rights back to the teams if you don't want to pay it. But
also,
you can't just keep it by paying less at this point.
Also, I read your statement where you were bragging about all of your liquidity. So no, you're not going to get any sort of tax.
And interestingly, Rob Manfred said, and this was, I guess, part of it was that, hey, if they want to sell us those stations, we're still interested in buying them. We think there's value there. They may not, but we do. So, and the judge said, well, if you want to keep your stations, someone else thinks they're valuable. I'm not going to tell, someone else that thinks they're valuable that you now have to accept less money from you guys just because you declared bankruptcy. So, that drama is ongoing. We'll see. There may be some more missed rights fees payments here in the coming days and weeks, and more teams that start doing the MLB produced telecasts like the Padres are doing. Certainly the Padres won't be the last one.
No, not at all. And yesterday was the first day that I logged on to the Contour app, and because I have Cox in my home, Cox subscriber, and so I didn't know where I could watch the game. So with Cox, you just download the Contour app, and that's what I did, and it worked no problem. Easier than the Bally's app.
Easier than finding Eno. We're going to keep trying, though.
Where in the world is Eno?
Either we'll talk to Eno, right, cool. Or I've got an MLB surprise for you after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Denick.
Traffic is sponsored by the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. Happy to report no incidents or accidents on our roads at this time, guys. Everything's looking good all around the county. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department is working hard to keep San Diego safe and is now hiring. The Sheriff's Department offers rewarding careers with growth and has an opportunity for anyone with integrity that wants to make a difference. Go to joinsdsheriff.net to learn more. That's joinsdsheriff.net. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Question for you, Woods. Who is the hottest team in the National League with the best record in the National League right now?
The hottest team
Hottest
in the
and best
National
record,
League
both.
with the best record.
Best record in the league, and they're the hottest
The
team.
Dodgers.
No. False.
Wait, no.
Technically, the Dodgers are tied for the best record, but they're not the hottest team. They've only won 5 of their last 10 games.
Hot Atlanta.
No, the
Oh,
Atlanta
no.
Braves are 4-6 in their last 10.
The Diamondbacks.
The Arizona Diamondbacks have won 5 in a row and now are tied with the Dodgers, not only atop the NL West, but with the best record in the National League at 34-23, 11 games above 500. They have proven to be more than just an early season flash in the pan. They're showing a little bit of longevity here, some endurance, as it were, through the first third of the season, trucking along as one of the big surprises in baseball so far.
Yeah, and Adam Jones talked about it yesterday on the program, or 2 days ago, when he was on, and said, look, they're built for the new rule changes. They really have adapted to the new rule changes, and
should we be shocked? They were actually really good
towards the end of
second
last year.
half
Yeah, they were okay.
of last season. Pretty decent.
They had kind of a crap finish, but they had a pretty decent run there, and they brought up some young guys, and they do have a good young core. I don't know. I watched some of the game against the Rockies last night, and this is the Rockies, but
they're getting good pitching, not just from Zach Gallen, that kid Tommy Henry, who had a really good start this week.
Yep.
They swept it was just the Rockies. They swept 4 games from the Rockies, but
it's 4 games.
It's a 4-game sweep. Let me know when the Padres sweep 4 games from a team this season.
For real.
Let me know when they sweep 3 games from a team this season.
100%. I'm looking at the series against the Cubs going, okay, like, is it now? Is now the time? And then I'm sitting there playing in my head going, well, Stroman's probably going to get us, and this guy's probably going to get us, and 2-2 would be not bad. They're playing with a lot of confidence. I watched them. I was listening to their broadcast yesterday. Christian Walker continues to be a good player for them. They've just got a good kind of cast of unknown guys that are young and really don't know what they don't know, I think, at this point. But they're fast, they're speedy, they're athletic, they're
Now,
pretty decently fun to watch.
Now imagine that team with Paul Goldschmidt.
Oh my God, I know, right? Incredible.
And now all of a sudden you're looking at a National League, maybe a real contender.
Yeah.
And just like the Padres, though, at the trade deadline, I don't know what superstars are available that they'll be able to add, but they certainly look like they are going to be a buyer rather than a seller. They've been sellers in recent years. Different Diamondbacks team this year. Conversely, on the other end, we know the Padres have been kind of a disappointing surprise so far. Is there such a thing as a deep playoff hangover in baseball? Because the Philadelphia Phillies have an even worse record than the Padres
Lost
do.
4 in a row.
They're 25-31 now, have lost 4 straight. They lost again to the Mets yesterday. The 2 teams that got the furthest in the National League off to slow starts this year in
They're
2023.
dying. I mean, if you're Philly and and it's just like what happened to us. You're Philly and you bolster your team by adding, let's be honest, if we had to choose between Trey Turner and Xander Bogaerts, I think everybody in San Diego's hand would have shot straight up and said, if we're going to get one of those guys, I'll take Trey Turner. Trey Turner has not been good for that team so far. You did not expect to add Trey Turner and get objectively worse than you were last year. I know some guys have had to move around a little bit. They're getting decent performances out of some of their stars, but I think pitching, they've run out of luck pitching-wise, Ben. And, I mean, they look terrible. Right now. So I don't know that the hangover has anything to do with it, but, the Astros are finally kind of rounding into form a little bit.
Now, who was the other American League Championship Series participant last year?
It was last year.
I can't remember who the Astros beat. Was the Rays? No.
Seattle was in it.
They lost in the wild card.
Yankees?
No.
It wasn't the Yankees. This is something we could look up in like 2 seconds, but I want to try to remember
I do
it
too.
in my mind. Who did the Astros beat
to get to
in the
World,
American
to
League?
get to the World
The
Series?
Guardians made the playoffs, but they didn't.
Yankees.
Was it the Yankees?
Swept them.
Swept the Yankees in the ALCS. Yankees are 10 games above 500 as well, so no real hangovers there in the American League.
They just got back Stanton, Donaldson, and somebody else too. So you're going to add Giancarlo and Josh Donaldson into a lineup that was actually playing pretty well to that point. So yeah, I mean the AL, the cream is definitely
the AL is the exact opposite
yeah,
of the NL is parity. The AL is Tampa Bay already with 40 wins. They're only the second team in baseball history with 40 wins before the start of June.
So not the exact opposite of what we all predicted before the season started. We said the
Pretty
NL
much.
is stacked.
The NL stacked. It's going to eat each other.
Super top heavy.
The Rangers are off to, I think, maybe the best start in their franchise history. They have 35 wins.
Nuts.
And then you've got the Orioles at 35 wins, the Yankees at 34 wins. There's no team in the National League above 34 wins. You got 40, 35, 35, 34. You got the Astros with 33. The Yankees with 34. I mean, every team in the AL East still has an above 500 record. And you've got the worst teams, the A's at 12 and 46, the Royals at 17 and 39. You've got some really bottom feeders as well that you don't have in the National League.
And again, the NL West with two of the best teams in the National League that you're going to have to, think about, overcome, et cetera, et cetera. The West, like we've already kind of put that out of our mind. You make the playoffs, get hot at the right time, and let the chips fall where they may. But yeah, they're not winning the West this year, Ben, without some sort of incredible run because Arizona and LA are both playing really, really well.
Well, Dodgers have cooled off a little bit. We'll see. They're 7.5 games back. I'm not ready to completely punt on the National League West. The Dodgers had a nice run. They did. They had a month there from the end of kind of late April until late May. They were good. They're kind of come back to earth. They have a lot of injuries they're dealing with right now. At some point, that pitching staff, even guys that come up and throw well, they're going to go through some rough spots. New, young, rookie kids are going to have rough days in the big leagues, and the Dodgers are seeing some of that right now. So they're a little bit vulnerable. It's just the Diamondbacks and not the Padres who have taken advantage. All guests on Better Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet Find New Roads. Had we had email on, it would have been brought to you by 7 Mile Casino.
Right, but we didn't.
Just minutes.
So it wasn't.
From downtown. We will have Bob Scanlon on, though, next on a Fire Friday. Back from Miami. New broadcasts. Drink of water coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan, like things Ben likes.
Oh God!
You missed that.
Guys
We will
missed that. We'll play it again.
Play that again here
In lieu
before
of
the end of the
flubs?
show. Yeah, in lieu of flubs today. We'll play that.
Is that the new flubs? Because
Uh-oh.
oh
Got a
no,
bloody nose.
yeah, quit.
We'll be right
toot-
back. You
quit-
welcome Scan. and I'm
Quit
gonna go to the
tooting that
bathroom.
powder. What is going on right now?
What in the hell
So-
is happening?
We missed him.
We're gonna try to catch up with him.
Scan is here or he's not here. Ben's nose is bleeding. What in the
Scan's calling in now. So
A
let me.
weird
You
Friday.
just do your thing.
What do I do? I'm panicked.
You
now.
got this.
Now? Oh God. Should I be vamping here? Okay.
Oh, second time it's happened. It's weird.
There we go. There's the great Bob
There he is.
Scanlon. Joining us on our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline is the big, tall,
Scan,
righty
we're having a meltdown over here.
himself, Bob Scanlon. Good morning, my friend. How you doing?
Save us.
Wow. Good morning, guys. I think I'm doing fine. Long road trip,
Yeah.
roller coaster road trip. Just trying to get some laundry done and get stuff ready for a series against the Cubs. But it's always great to talk with you guys. How are you?
Well, number one, we really appreciate you. We had a feeling you'd be up at least. You don't seem like a kind of guy that would say, "Hey, hon, was a long trip. Wake me up at 11." I don't see Scan sleeping past 7. Really, I just don't see it. I can't wrap my head around it.
Sometimes it feels like there's no sleep at all when
Correct.
spring training starts.
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
I mean, it's I basically say bye to my family, my friends. It's like, okay, spring training starting. I'll see you guys at the end of October.
No doubt. I
no
mean,
sleep in between.
and that was such a long trip. You guys covered a ton of miles cross country, but it ended on such a good note, Scan. And a
Yeah.
lot of people living and dying with every pitch, with every win, every loss. I'm no different. I'm telling people not to do it, Scan, but I'm absolutely riding that roller coaster. And we have started to see, everybody has started to see, everyone's talking about, there has been a little bit of sunshine through the clouds as far as at least the offense is concerned right now with the San Diego Padres. I know you're seeing it as well.
Yeah, no question about it. And it was like you, it was a roller coaster road trip, and there were these highs and there were these lows. And ultimately we walk out with this wonderful 10-1 victory at the end. It was a great bow to put on the end of this journey that we were on. It felt like a month long, but ultimately, to your point, flashes of this offense starting to be what everybody has anticipated it could be. And I think it goes beyond just, you look at the final box score. Oh yeah, there we go. 10 runs, 11 hits. That's what it's all about. And certainly that's important. But I think Bob Melvin, he touched on it in his post game yesterday. It wasn't just that final result. It was the approach. It was the quality at bats and situational at bats. It was being more aggressive in the zone. And for me, it was not missing mistake pitches that the opposition was making, which I feel like we've seen that over the course of the year where, there's certain guys where, hey, they're mowing and you tip your cap sometimes, but usually there's opportunities within every game where guys are going to make mistakes, and the Padres have not been punishing those mistakes that the opposing pitchers have made as consistently as we would expect out of this type of a talented lineup. So finally on this road trip, we saw moments of that, along with just some special flashes of excellence, right? With Rougned Odor coming up with a big hit when he needed to. Gary Sanchez has 2 home runs since joining the team. So some unexpected sources of some, power and coming up with a big hit when you need it, along with the guys that you expect, like Fernando and Juan, and guys are starting to heat up. So yeah, we're seeing it's turning, and I think we all wanted it to, have that one special moment. There it is. There's the bust out moment, and now we're going to see 10 runs, for the next 2 weeks in a row. I don't necessarily think it's going to be like that, but we're certainly seeing it's starting to thaw out, and we're seeing moments of what we expect this offense to be able to do. And now we just hope that it can start to snowball and be more consistent, and hopefully, take that momentum out of this last game and bring it here to Petco Park and do some damage against the Cubs.
No question about it. Talking to the big, tall right-hander himself, Bob Scanlon, here on Ben and Woods. And, earlier in the week, a lot of people on this radio station, ourselves included, we brought up there's a little tiny blurb in one of Kevin Acey's pieces about, hey, listen, there could be some fissures was the word he used in the locker room. And I said, hey, let's blow it out of proportion. But there's nothing to blow out of proportion. And you've been in the locker room. Would you be surprised, Bob, if there weren't fissures in the locker room with as poorly and with the amount of expectations not met so far this season?
Wait a minute. You've got 30 type A personality major league players all in the same room for 162 days.
And they're losing.
And if you forget that part, even when things are going well, you have stuff going on in the clubhouse, right? I mean, and so it's not uncommon and a lot of times these things are blown out of proportion. I've not seen any of that myself personally, so I can't comment. But to your point, obviously, those types of things that exist between human beings can become exaggerated or take on a different level of importance when things are not going well. So it's winning cures all, right?
It does.
Everybody feels better. Hey, you know what? You pissed me off yesterday, teammate, but we went 10-1, so I'm a little less pissed off at you today. Like we're going to get through this thing. And hey, way to go. Ultimately, these guys have stuck together, I think, incredibly well over a very tough start because of all the expectations. And it's, the outside expectations and the internal expectations as well. And also personal expectations. And a lot of those have not been met on any level up to this point. So certainly, it's time. It's not only time for the team to start winning games, as Bob and everybody in that clubhouse has acknowledged and admitted and taken accountability for, but I think also from the emotional standpoint, in terms of just how you're feeling coming to the ballpark on a daily basis, you need wins. You need these pockets of feeling good about yourself coming to the ballpark, having positive associations, coming into the clubhouse, coming onto the field, seeing the same faces every single day. And hopefully we're starting to see more of that and we can build some momentum going forward.
Good morning to you, Bob. Sorry I missed the first couple of minutes. Good news, it's not a gusher. It was just a little bit of a trickle, and I've got a tissue stuffed up my left nostril.
He sure does. And it's hard for me, Scan, it's hard for me to look at him and listen to you and take any of this seriously right now with what I'm looking at.
Problem is, I don't know what I missed.
Well, that was the chaos when we brought you on, Scan. Ben,
I didn't know that there was...
You're calling in. Ben runs out of the studio, blood coming out of his face.
There's fissures in here, Scan.
I'm trying to talk to Scan
nose.
on hold, and Woods doesn't know to just talk on his own. He just sits in silence.
Fissure up my nose at the moment. We're dealing with that.
Oh my God, I'm worried about you guys.
So I don't know if you addressed it or not already, but I'm very curious. Obviously, with the new broadcasts going on, seems like a stepped up role for Bob Scanlon, seeing you do kind of a solo post game show, and don't know what tonight's going to look like. We hear they're adding a pregame show for home games as well. How has the last couple of days gone for you with the new MLB produced telecasts, Bob?
Boy, I was talking about changes. Now I'm rattled. I just have this vision of you with tissue up your nose right now. So
don't worry, no one can see me other than our hundreds of YouTube viewers.
It's
right
unreal.
Now.
It is unreal.
Oh man, you guys are the best. Yeah, so big changes, right? And all these changes have all kinds of effect on a lot of different people, large changes, small changes. And I think we're in the midst of something that's historic. I don't think any of us anticipated this possibly happening, other than, we knew that at the beginning of the season that this might be a reality, but here it is. And to MLB and the Padres' credit, they were prepared for it. They were prepared for it earlier. So I think the transition has been about as smooth as we can possibly have it. I mean, thanks to Doug Johnson, the executive producer from MLB, Tim Fryer was our producer, Erica Greer was our director for these first couple of games. And I felt like the transition went about as smoothly as it possibly could. I'm hoping the viewers at home still enjoyed the broadcast. They still got down in mud doing their thing. And credit to MLB and the Padres for helping to make this transition as smooth as possible. Obviously, when you're with a group of people like we've been with Bally's, that's been our team for many years now, and very close to a lot of the people there. And unfortunately, there's some people that are going to be affected by this, and that's, my heart goes out to everybody. And we don't know this is the first round of changes to get through this, bridging this gap, and I'm sure there's going to be more changes down the road and probably this off season. So who knows what that's going to entail? But I know that MLB and the Padres, at the core of it all, have what they think is going to be best for MLB, the Padres, and the Padres fan base. And hopefully more Padres fans than ever have access to these broadcasts so they can enjoy this ball club. The numbers that I'm hearing is it's gone from 1 million households up to like 3.2 million households now have access to Padres baseball, and there's not going to be more blackouts and everything. So hopefully this ends up being a positive for Padre fans that want to watch it. And I'm hoping for the industry as well in terms of the demographics of what fans are watching, because the more you can stream it and the more you can get it into the hands of a younger generation and make it accessible to them, I think the better. So, we'll see what all these changes mean, guys. We're doing the best we can to try to transition it, and hopefully Padre fans are still enjoying the product that they're seeing on their television.
I also was curious, did we ever find out, and maybe Bob does or doesn't know, but why a tall, thinner person is referred to as a drink of water?
Tall drink of water.
A tall drink of water. I'm sure you've been called a tall drink of water more than once in your lifetime, Bob.
Yeah, the first time I heard it, I was 13 years old, and I had a new girlfriend, and I met the mom of the girlfriend, and she's, "Ooh, he's a tall drink of water." I'd never heard that one before, but yeah, I've heard it a few times ever since. So,
but we don't know why that
that
is.
was a stamp
What
of
makes you a
approval,
drink of water?
Like a tall glass, right?
Yeah, it could be anything
I
in
don't
the
know.
glass. It could be
True.
I'm hoping it's a soothing glass of a beverage that people enjoy.
People like skinny highballs for their water, unless you're a tall drink of
It's
water.
not a tall drink of Kool-Aid or something. It doesn't have this. It doesn't roll off the tongue like water does. Scan, let's talk pitching. I love when we have you on to talk pitching, and I've been very impressed with our starters. I've been, some guys rounding into form a little bit. You can see it with Joe Musgrove. I thought Blake Snell pitched his tail off the other night. I know 3 walks. I mean, you take the good with the bad sometimes with Blake Snell, but that was such an excruciating game to lose. And I know Josh Hader probably feels terrible about it. But it's one of those days in the big leagues. They happen. You've probably done it before. And what's that like? Guy goes out, pitches his heart out. You come in out of the pen and serve it up. Is that the worst feeling?
Oh, it is the worst feeling, no question about it. I mean, those were the most heartbreaking moments for me in my career. I mean, as a starter, I gave up the goods sometimes, and you feel bad because the team loses, and you put pressure on your bullpen, and you know you didn't do your job, and that's awful. But when you come in and you either give up somebody else's runs, or you scuttle a win in the last inning when your teammates have worked their tail off for 8 innings to get this lead, and they hand it over to you, and it evaporates in your hands, and sometimes it's through nothing that you've done wrong. You've made all your pitches, and it's just, hey, things didn't work out, and I lost. Other times, you didn't do the job. You didn't make your pitches, or you didn't do what was expected of you. And to Josh's credit, after the game, he stood there in front of his locker and he said, "I need to make better pitches. I walked guys. I didn't execute the pitches that I needed to. I was trying to elevate, but I wanted to get it in, and I left it out over, and the guy got a hit." So he's a totally stand-up guy. And it's not easy to do that for a lot of people, but he's a man, and he stood there. He acknowledged it. He owned it, and it is a horrible feeling because there's 25 other guys in that clubhouse that just work their tail off, and you let them down. So, but that's part of what makes great closers is not only having great stuff, and it's kind of trite. We've talked about it before, the ability to turn the page, but it's true because you got to be out there the next day and just feel like you own it. Right. I mean, you cannot beat me. You might forget yesterday. I am unbeatable today. Give me the ball. I want a 1-run game. Give me the bases loaded, nobody out, a 3-0 count. I'm going to get out of this jam one way or another, and I'm going to close the door for my boys right here. And that's the attitude that you got to have. Easier said than done, but
never had that. Never had that mentality once. I was like, "What are we up 9? I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take the ball right here." This feels good for me.
And that's what I actually wanted my last question to be about the guys who took the ball up 9 yesterday.
Yeah,
because they pitched really well out of the bullpen. Drew Carlton and Tom Cosgrove, not names that were on my radar, Bob, even in spring training, and they pitched so well that I'm just kind of wondering what you've seen. Are they pitching themselves into maybe some higher leverage situations, or are they having success because they've kind of been used very carefully? And, you might not see that, but both of these guys have been outstanding on the big league level so far.
I agree. They've been awesome. And I didn't know what to expect much either, guys, but they've been nasty. So, and oftentimes people think, oh, it's easy coming into a 9-run game. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes those are tough games to pitch in, both when you're ahead and you're behind. But these guys have come in, they've shown good stuff, and I do believe that they'll start earning some other opportunities. Because as a skipper, you go out there and you see a guy making his pitches, and you see bad swings, and you see them working ahead in the count, and you see him pitching aggressively, which both of those guys have. I feel like, okay, you've earned it. You've earned the opportunity. And there's going to be opportunities, right? Because over the course of the season, you're going to use up Steve Wilson and Tim Hill and Garcia and Martinez. And it's going to be a stretch where somebody else has to step up. And those guys seem ready to do it. So if I'm Bob Melvin right now, I'm feeling like, wow, I've got more depth in my bullpen than I had anticipated. And credit to those two guys for doing it, because that they could be difference makers over the course of the season. And doing a great job, guys. Keep it rolling.
He's Bob Scanlon. He's taken on a more of a starring role on the Padres telecast. We'll see him again tonight on various channels throughout San Diego and the MLB TV stream. Bob, thank you very much as always. Appreciate it.
Guys, always great talking baseball with you. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it,
Bob Scanlon on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Never had that killer mentality. Never. In sports. Never wanted the ball with the bases loaded.
The toughest situation. Come in and
I never wanted
be that guy.
No. If we're down 9 or up 9, yeah, I'll go out and give you everything I got. I will bust my ass for you. But if it's Woodsy, go close this game. Paul, you've seen me pitch enough. It's not. I don't have it. It's not in me.
When it's ugly, it's ugly.
When it's ugly, it's the ugliest thing you've ever seen. It's meltdown city, dude.
But what about in radio? When we get the bases loaded, you got to come in and save the segment.
100%.
It's what you do.
I love it. Well, I mean, I think I just
out with a nosebleed.
Yeah, I was expecting a nosebleed, and Scan was, not on the line yet. So
Sounds
I
like
blew that save.
You did. You blew that one.
I blew that save a little bit.
But we'll come back. We'll see how Paulie does. We'll do a Rindle report, and then I think Eno is going to join us here at the bottom of the hour.
Third time's a charm.
Again, for Eno, yes. All coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
and get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah?
All right.
All right.
All right.
How we doing, gentlemen?
Fantastic.
What a day.
I am dealing with a bloody nose over here, as
You-
everyone can see on our YouTube stream, but doing fine for the most part.
Tissue shoved up your nose.
Some of the
Just-
comments. Holy.
Just to keep.
As soon as you came back into the shot with the tissue.
Somebody said, Ben, bump days not till next week. He wouldn't even get
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
He wouldn't even
I get it, yeah.
really get
Me and Blake Snell, we have something in common.
Yeah. Hurt my nose.
Hurt my nose.
All right, gentlemen. We'll move quickly here. I know we got Eno Saris in about 10 minutes. He's confirmed this time.
Okay.
Again.
Double confirmed.
Like the third
Allegedly.
time, but-
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So we mentioned it very early in the show, but it is the championship series. NBA Finals Game 1 last night. The Nuggets won 104-93. I don't know how you guys thought the box score showed. The final score 104-93. Felt like
Closer.
Denver was in control the whole time.
Yeah, didn't it? It was. What's the adage here?
I got nothing for you.
The game was not.
It wasn't as close as the box
final
score
score
looks.
box score
indicated.
would
Yeah.
indicate. Yes.
Jokic had 27 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists.
Beast.
He's just
Just a beast.
he's so good.
So
He
good.
is so good.
I can't wait to see him matched up against that Frenchman that's coming into the.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, when he'll be.
Wembanyama.
Yeah, he'll be a
Victor
Spur.
Wembanyama.
I'm always torn. MVP is a regular season award. Yet, it now feels wrong that Joel Embiid is the MVP and not Nikola Jokic.
I know.
Because when you take the whole thing in its totality, feels very much like Jokic was much more valuable
I
and
know.
a more important player. Now, he's got his too, so I don't
He's
feel
got
too bad
to.
about it. At the same time, if you made it a whole all the way through the season and the playoffs award, it would just be the finals MVP almost every single time.
Pretty
it's like, well,
much.
who's more valuable than the guy who led
The best
their
player
team
on
to
the
a
best team,
championship every single year?
Yep.
And you'd basically be eliminating everybody else
I know.
over the course of the season.
I know.
So
It's tough.
I'm kind of torn on that one. Same with every sport,
Yep.
baseball, NFL as well.
Imagine Stephen Pierce after winning the World Series MVP. They're like,
I guess he's the MVP of the year. Yeah.
He's like, me, Stephen Pierce, just won the MVP.
Like basketball in particular, it's such a superstar-driven league,
100%.
and there's only 5 guys on the floor at a time. It's like it really should have just been the Michael Jordan Award.
Right.
Then it should have been named the LeBron James Award.
Right.
It's like they should have won it every single year, just about that
Correct.
they played. But obviously they didn't.
One possible X factor for this series, hearing Tyler Hero could be coming back for game 2. Now,
Need a shooter like that, right?
will he be in,
The
in
broken
sync, in-
hand,
in
right?
groove? I mean, he's been out now since the start of the playoffs. When he got hurt, well, it's like second or third game. It's been more than a month and a half or so since he's played. Sometimes it takes guys like a week to get going. You don't have a week to get going now. They got game 2 on Sunday. You can't start falling behind 2-0, 3-0 and think you've got a chance against this Denver Nuggets team.
We were sitting at dinner last night. The game was on the TV, and my wife looks up at the TV. She goes, "This is still going on." I go, "Yeah. The NBA playoffs are a long, arduous process. It's still going. There's 6 games potentially to go."
The crazy part is the finals will end mid-June here. They'll have the draft, and then in about a month or two, they'll be back at training camp in like October, ready to go again. Summer League will happen in Vegas, and then they'll be right back at training camp, and they'll start another season in October.
Can't wait.
I like a 7-game finals.
I like a 7-game finals.
But pretty much every series in the playoffs before that could be like 3, 5, 7, maybe.
Yeah.
Like Western Conference, Eastern Conference finals.
Sure.
Go 7
It's
games.
weird.
but-
I think the NBA does the best job of identifying the best team.
Sure.
In baseball, you get a hot pitcher or two. You can have a team that won 87 games, win the World Series. They're not necessarily the best team. They were the hottest team in October. The NFL, it's one game. You could have the best team has one bad day.
Happens all the time.
They're out.
Yeah.
They don't win the Super Bowl.
All the time.
In the NBA, to win 4 7-game series, you're probably the best team.
Cream
at that
of
point.
the crop.
You may not have been the best team all season long, but you're certainly the best team in the last 2 months of the year.
Yeah,
if you
because the
win
playoffs
NBA
take 2
finals.
months.
Yeah,
That's exactly
which
why.
is and that you get a very legitimate champion every year in the NBA.
All right, we'll just skip to the last story here. This one was actually sent to us this morning.
Somebody sent this over.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to dance around it, I suppose.
All right. I'm great at this.
It's a news story. There's really no words to it. It's just a video segment from Fox 26 in Houston. But the headline reads, "Some men use maxi pads for excess gooch grease."
What is gooch grease?
Save that. Let me be careful.
Like Gucci Mane, like Gucci the brand?
No.
Like
taint butter, basically.
They're like shea butter?
No. Like
salted or unsalted?
From what I'm reading here, it says apparently gooch grease is the buildup of lint, sweat, and
DD mega doo doo
in the
all of that together.
that area,
crevice, kind of the
crevasse
area.
Yes, men will now put a pad there
for hygiene
Keep it clean.
purposes. It's always good to be hygienic.
I feel like you would see it through my pants.
Are you wearing a lot of thongs?
Not as many as I would like. Where are they doing this? When they go on, they take their kids to Six Flags, golf.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I have to powder up before I go to Disneyland. You ever get where the innards of your legs are all red?
you chafing and sure. And
I
then,
use Gold Bond.
But then at the end of the day, you go and you take a shower and get nice and clean. I mean, that's what
What are
underwear
they
is for.
What are they doing?
What else is like? Do
Man,
they immediately
I'll
need
send
to-
you the video. There's
Yeah.
a 7-minute segment on Fox 26. in Houston.
7-minute segment.
I'd like to play it. I'd like to play it Monday. So please write it down. I'd like to play it. I'd like to get more in because I may try it if I need it. But I feel like I don't need that right now. I don't walk enough. Maybe on a hike, you're like, man, this is gnarly.
Like you're getting uncomfortable. Sometimes,
Yeah, it makes you uncomfortable.
like if I walk on a hot day and you're walking 18 holes of golf,
I don't
and
do
you can
that.
start getting
that area
uncomfortable. Yeah.
But do you use powder?
No.
Never.
No.
Like when I play ball, I have a doubleheader on Sunday. I will completely powder all over.
Like baby powder.
Gold Bond. Medicated powder. Yeah. I mean, I get it in my wife. It's all over the floor. And then you see my footprints walking through it. So looks like a crime scene. Bo will come in and dust. These are dad's feet. But yeah, that I will do it 100% on Sunday. Load up with that. I didn't think of the using one of those for that. Still never really been sure what those things are or what they do. So we don't have to talk about it.
We live in
For another
ignorance. As
time.
men, we live in ignorance.
We don't have to talk about it.
We have to talk to Eno Saris yet again. We're going to
We'll
try
get
one
his-
more time
we'll get
before
his
the end of the
thoughts
week.
on gooch grease.
And then again, everything that I like over the last 6 months before we get out of here on a Friday. Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I've dried up here. I can take the Kleenex out of my nose. Let me know if I start dripping, but I think I feel okay now moving forward. Last segment of Ben and Woods this week.
Get you one of those pads for a nooch.
That's true.
Good, yeah.
I feel compelled to report this. There could be 0% of the audience that cares. Breaking NBA news: the Phoenix Suns have hired Frank Vogel.
You're right.
As their new head coach. The coaching carousel. Just goes round and round.
You know what? I think people would actually much rather hear that we listened to 30 seconds of that 7-minute video.
News segment.
The news segment.
It's unbelievable.
Gooch Grease.
Yes.
And Wood said, stop. We're playing this whole thing on Monday.
Correct.
It was an authentic news segment.
I saw it with my own eyes.
I don't feel like that's something we would do on ABC 10 News.
Fox 26 in Houston or Dallas or something. And
that's very humid in Houston. Maybe that's bigger news there.
It is. It's really humid.
That's news you can use.
That is news you can use here in Dallas. So we will be playing that in its entirety. You won't believe it. You won't believe it when you hear it.
In 30 seconds,
30 seconds.
they said at least
that's
two
enough.
things where we go, can they even say that on the news?
Right here. It's phenomenal. So, yeah, that'll be Monday morning.
All right, we have found him. We have tracked him down. Eno Sarris, the one and only, our Smart Baseball segment to wrap up the week after our last check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Wrapping things up with this crash on the eastbound 78 right at the southbound 15 connect. You got the right lanes blocked. Also looks like someone dropped a bunch of chairs in lanes on the southbound 15 right at the westbound King Freeway. Coach Quintero and Joe Musgrove's Choice. They're a different kind of dealership looking to be a solid community partner and deliver excellent service. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Chevrolet, find new roads. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And out we go. Oh, wait, we got an intro.
Yep.
It's time for
not just any intro, but my favorite intro of the week as we welcome the Athletics. Eno Sarris with us here on 97.3 The Fan. How was graduation yesterday? I've got my own today. My youngest is graduating high school, Eno.
Oh, that's a big one. We only had 5th grade, but it threw me off enough. You know what my wife's #1 pet peeve is with me?
Ooh.
Maybe #1. I don't use the calendar.
Same, dude.
Like the one, like you write, like physically write on a calendar.
We have that.
I use the one on my phone
like
now.
The Google one, yeah. The online. I don't use it. I am a creature of habit and routine. And Friday mornings, I don't have a phone call with Ben and Woods.
No, you don't.
I took a run.
No, it's
that was my speculation.
That was our speculation.
Like, hey, it's got a Friday. It doesn't. Hey, it's Friday. I don't have anything on Friday.
Yeah, and I get that too. I'm very boomerish. I have not figured out how to really use properly the calendar on my phone. So we have a paper calendar. I don't use that one either. I used to be really good at juggling, and now the older I get, I forget things all. I'm like, I'm about to start writing stuff on my arm. Like that's how bad it's gotten in my house. Well, it's good to hear from you, man. Loved your piece talking about this is great. You had a piece in The Athletic. I'm off Twitter, so I read The Athletic pretty much exclusively now. So I see every word that you write, every word that your colleagues write on The Athletic. But you talked about something that's very interesting and something we here in San Diego are certainly interested in, and it's about people switching teams and just how difficult it is for a player to switch teams. Seemingly very difficult once they get to the San Diego Padres for many of them to assimilate. But tell us a little bit about that piece.
Yeah, I mean, it came from talking to Marcus Semien, who had a real hard start to the season last year after signing a huge contract with the Rangers. It looked like a bust 2 months into the season, but I knew who he was, and I stayed in touch with him because, I saw him grow up in Oakland. Knew he was a really hard worker. He got out of it through that hard work, but he talked about how you've got to uproot your family. He's got 2 young kids, and so he was waking up really early in the morning to see them off at school, trying to find a routine that worked for him. And also, that's kind of specific to Marcus Semien, but also that's kind of general to anybody who switches teams. They have to move their families, they have to move their loved ones. They have to find a new routine. They have to live somewhere new. But, specific to free agents in the offseason, I hadn't thought of this. You have nobody gives you a plan. There's nobody who gives you an off-season workout plan. There's nobody who there's no team facility you can go work out at. There's you're in between teams. So the old team doesn't care to tell you what to do, and the new team doesn't have you yet,
That's fact. I never thought about that. Never once. That's wild.
So there's like a big gap. There's like a month or two gap where you're just out of touch with any team while you're negotiating, a new deal. And then, specific to the Padres have done a lot of trades. And even when you trade for someone, it's still true that they have to change their lives. But also something I found in the numbers is that you can see pressing in the numbers. You can see that they chase more, they swing more with their new team. I think Soto actually almost is the reverse, where pressing for Soto is he stops swinging entirely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We saw that early in the season.
Yeah, but you see pressing in the numbers, and I think that's a human thing. You get traded to a new team, you want to show them all, or you sign a big contract with a new team, you want to show them all that you're valuable to the team, that the trade was worth it, that to the fans, to the team, to your coach, so your coaches and your manager. So I think that's a difficult thing, and it is actually more relevant to the Padres than a lot of teams, because the Padres, this is maybe a rude word, but they're kind of mercenaries. Not many of them grew up in the San Diego organization. Yeah. I mean, I think there are two of them on the field that came up through the organization: Steven Wilson and Azokar, or
I think they traded for Azokar at some point. Yeah,
did they? Oh my
God.
God.
I think it's one of the.
It used to be Krismat and Wilson.
But yeah, no, there's no homegrown Padres, essentially. I mean, Steven Wilson's probably the most that contributes the most to the team. But I say yes. If it's basketball or football, you have orchestrated events and you're running plays and you need to know, intrinsically where another guy is standing. Sure, putting years together helps. In baseball, which is more a series of individual activities and actions, I don't know how much it really matters what organization. Everyone came up through a minor leagues. Everyone's teaching fundamentals and things like that.
But
Does it really matter which
sense.
organization? Yeah, the pressing I get, but the rest of it, the whole, hey, this team, the Dodgers, have so many homegrown. Who cares? If you get good players, you get good players. They're standing up there. They're not thinking about who they played with at AA when they're facing a guy throwing 98 miles an hour and standing in the batter's box.
And their big stars, came from other organizations too. So it's like, these are big organizations. Big teams are big organizations with lots of players. I mean, they use 50, 60 guys over the course of a season. I mean, it's hard to be like, oh, well, because these three guys came up with the organization together, that gives them a nucleus of,
They love to do it, though. We love to do it. Everybody loves to do it. The Yankees did it. The core four, we get it. I mean, I got a feeling those guys would have been pretty good anywhere they played. Good players are good players. The other thing, Ben, you wanted to bring up.
So we were talking earlier, and I don't know if there's any research on this, but we were having the discussion about riding the hot hand. Will Clark had some comments, or you got a hitter who's riding a nice hitting streak. We have Rougned Odor, who he's been hot lately for whatever reason, but hasn't played against tough lefties the last couple of days. And some people go, why wouldn't you put the hot hand in there, even though it may not be the best matchup for you? And my argument was, well, maybe they're hot because you're putting them in the right matchups to begin with. And I don't know how much data there is on that, because I think with modern managers and teams, you see a lot more of the matchups and the lefty righties being played than necessarily riding that hot bench bat for a fifth or sixth straight day.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right that he's performing well because they're putting him in positions to succeed. And in terms of performing well, it's still below league average bat. So
for the season, well below average. The last week and a half or so, he's been really, really good.
Yeah, and so there's been a lot of research that suggests that there is no such thing as a hot hand, but there's been a little bit of newer research that suggests it might be. So, for example, there is one newest piece that I believe that I think is true, and it says that a pitcher there is such a thing as a hot hand with a pitcher, and it's his fastball velocity. So if his fastball velocity is up, a half tick or a tick or whatever, that predicts that his next start is going to be good.
Nice.
But I would argue, and I don't know if this is semantics or whatever, I would argue that pitcher with an extra mile per hour of velo, he's now a better pitcher. It's not that he's gotten hot, it's that he's better. I don't want to get too lost in the weeds there, but there are ways that you can study this where you can sort of start to see it. And I did have a long conversation with Brett Phillips about this. And I think that there's a possibility that we get, as we better measure things. I really feel uncomfortable as a nerd who's in my basement currently.
Literally.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's where my office is. I feel really uncomfortable saying like, oh, you people that know baseball for like forever, you coaches, you people who played forever, this accrued knowledge is incorrect, and you're all wrong. I feel really uncomfortable doing that.
That's why we love you, actually.
Good. Good.
That's literally why we have loved your work, is because there are those people. Those people exist, and they call the old school, whatever you want to call them, they call them morons.
Dinosaurs,
fossils. There has to be a blending of the two. Dusty Baker and the Astros is a perfect example. Dusty is as old school as it gets.
Conventional wisdom may be conventional, but sometimes it's also wisdom.
Right.
Even if we don't know why it is wisdom.
So I would say the research hasn't proved that clutch exists. I would not say that it has proved that clutch doesn't exist. Because I think that's a very different thing. And so I talked to Brett Phillips, and he says, if you could wire us and get our heartbeats while we're at the plate, I think you would absolutely find that there are people with slow heartbeats.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, just look at Manny Machado at the plate.
Slow, just pop.
Just not at all nervous. There's not an ounce of nervousness in him. I would also say that if you are truly a nervous Nelly and can't handle it, like, you may be out of baseball before it matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can tell you from my own golf game. Oh, I'm 1 over after 16 holes. I can start feeling it. I get tense. Like, well, I got a good round right in front of me. It's harder to play,
no doubt,
when you're tense than when you're relaxed and feeling good.
So, I think there is something there, but I would also say that baseball players are so far on the side of the bell curve, right? Like, they're not in the middle with us. They're way on the edge there, professional baseball players. So it's possible that they're all clutch.
Yeah, that's true.
They all had to make it through the minor leagues. They all had to win in college. If you were truly, truly like me, if you were like as unclutch as I would be standing in the box against Jacob deGrom, then you wouldn't be in there at all. You know what I mean?
There's an aspect of clutch to every single, that number that staggers us every year, that only been 21,000 big leaguers. I mean, it's just a staggering number for as long as baseball's been around, as many teams.
Like, it's a staggeringly small
number. Yeah, staggeringly small. Like, it blows me away that it would be half of Petco Park, or 2/3 of Petco Park.
If you put everybody,
every player that played Major League Baseball, they're all clutch in some respect. But yeah, man, the low heartbeat. I've never been a low heartbeat guy either. I'm the most unclutch person I know. But no, I think that stuff's fascinating. That's a really good way.
Before we go, our YouTube stream always comes up with the answer. So it's Steven Wilson, Ryan Weathers, and now Tom Cosgrove are the three Padres. And then they said, Johnny says, and Ethan Salas will be in a couple of years. Did you see? 16-year-old.
He's off to a great start.
Yes, he is,
man.
Pretty incredible. We'll be following him quite closely. Eno, I'm glad we got to catch up with you, even if it took until the very end of our week to do so. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
No worries, buddy.
No worries.
Thanks for having me.
There he is, Eno Saris, our weekly Smart Baseball segment brought to you by 7 Mile Casino. He is great. He's always great.
I love that he said that too, and that's really the reason why I love Eno, because he knows that there's absolutely value in an old school manager and what they know about baseball. I coached Tim Flannery's grandson, Jesse, and Flan is the biggest old head you will ever find in the world. Do you know how much knowledge I get from Flan though? reams and reams of knowledge.
I like, and I think Bob Melvin's like this, an open-minded old head.
100%.
You know, definitely wise and seen it all, but willing to listen to new information
and
that
to
may
look
be
at,
helpful.
Yeah, that absolutely could help you. And I think Dusty Baker's that guy. I think Bruce Bochy's that guy. I think Bob Melvin's, that guy as well. Bob Melvin was hard-nosed, old-school kind of guy, but he has you have to adapt. You have to soften. You have to be open and amenable to new ideas with whatever it is you do for a living, honestly. So not just baseball.
You
but
guys had a new idea today.
We did.
Well, actually 6 months ago, and it took that long to put it all together.
6 months in the planning. Paulie has executed this to perfection, listening intently. Ben likes a lot of stuff. If you missed this earlier,
He likes to tell us.
he likes
how much
to
he likes
tell us
things.
all the things that he likes. This is one of the best things we've ever done. And this is over the last 6 months, we've collected 50 of things that Ben
And I'm
likes.
sure we missed some.
I'm sure we did.
I like good, juicy, sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh no, I like it creamy. I like good, firm banana.
I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating.
I like moist.
I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song.
I like Squirt.
I like Saki. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paula Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like Science Experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
It's just so delightful, dude. Oh my god.
And Shelby wonders, is that a takeoff Howard Stern hating everything?
Yep.
100%.
That's
It is.
1,000%.
Woods talked about that earlier. 100%. Well, thank you for that, gentlemen.
That was amazing, Ben.
Actually, I was scared. I kind of enjoyed it. I like that montage of things that I liked.
I like that you liked it.
And that'll do it for us.
I love you
Coach
guys.
coming up next. Gwen and Chris downtown today for Paulie, for Woods. I'm Ben. Have a great weekend from all of us here at 97.